Good evening, all, and welcome to the Tactical Devils. I'm your host, Jarvis Cocker, and with me tonight I have my co-host, Wally. Tonight we will talk about strikers, forwards, strikers, the main man, the number 9, the guy who can score all the goals. There's been some updates. Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic came in today with some huge updates on Olly Watkins. Apparently, Man United are considering Olly Watkins if Rasmus Højlund leaves. And there's some updates on the Mbeumo deal. Garnacho linked to Chelsea again. Adam Wharton, Rashford, Villa ended. Kunku, Moises Keane, Malacia. A lot of updates. So, guys, girls, we will delve to it in a couple of seconds right after the intro. And while you wait, please smash the like and subscribe if you are new. So we will be back after this. See you in a sec. Good evening, all, and welcome again to the Tactical Devils. I see people tuning in already. I want to say hi to Catherine Non-Nonsense, MacDade coming in early, say our owners are absolute disgrace and an S show. Lads, yes, they are. Gary Scahill is coming in and say we need players for preseason, support him or watch him fail and be sacked by Christmas. Yes, I think a lot of people feel that way. It could happen. He needs proper backing. And when we say him, we are talking about none other than Rúben Amorim. Gavin Underwood is here. Big up, Gavin. Good to see you coming in. Evening all. Jarle Malmin, another day, another talk about Gyökeres. I agree with Cass. He's priced out of the price range of the moment. Yes, but that's what's going to be one of my main topics tonight, talking about Gyökeres, because I think there are some conflicting interests, some conflicting reports, and we can talk a little bit about it after a while, but we need to go through the latest news first. Johnny Kermode is in the house. Big up, Johnny K. Good to see you. Thank you for coming on yesterday. You did well. Jordan Wall coming in from Sweden. Hi. Mark Davis. Good evening, guys. Will United sign anyone this week, Mark? Time will tell. I don't know. Bernardo Curto coming in, guys, ready for the show. Big up. Routinator coming in, like one of the moderators. Smash the like button on your way in. And Philip is in the house and coming in and say hello. Hello, Philip. And none other than Roshmano comes in with a boom. And I want to start actually with Roshmano, because you know what, Stu? The 3rd of May, Roshmano posted this on his X channel. United see Olly Watkins as a potential option if MUFC failed to land Liam Delap. And this was the 3rd of May. So I got to give it to Roshmano and Transfers MUFC. They are accurate and knows their stuff. But so in a way, this Olly Watkins link is not a new thing. It's been around whispering in the ether for, I would say, more than a month, maybe 2. So how do you feel? Do you think it's genuine? Do you think it's real?
It's hugely underwhelming. I mean, look, you never really know, do you? You know, we've spoken about this before. We don't know what's happening in the transfer ether at the moment. Huge amount of conjecture out there. Everybody's trying to report certain things, but it appears that Watkins is under consideration. For me, he's better off at Newcastle than us. Watkins, he would fit the Newcastle system very, very well, and that was a better position for him than coming to Manchester United. he wasn't really getting on. In fact, Rashford was getting in ahead of Watkins towards the end of the season. Watkins wasn't playing as well. He wasn't playing enough. And I just don't see whether or not he would fit our system, whether Amorim would fit our system, or would he fit Amorim's system. And I just think, unfortunately, it's another tap on to an ever-growing list that we seem to be linked with on a regular basis at Manchester United. And for me, it's a non-starter. I just don't think it's worth the 40 million investment. You know what? You're better off grabbing Ivan Toney out of Saudi Arabia.
Getting
him and playing him as a straight 9, because all of this posturing that we're doing at the moment, if we believe what's happening with Mbeumo, I mean, Brentford have come out today. Their technical director, sporting director, is as smarmy as it gets, isn't he? Let's be honest. I think most Man United fans are like to shove that camera right down his throat, and because he really is a problem. You can see why now why this Mbeumo deal's dragging. If you're dealing with idiots like that. He's made it clear. He said so himself, didn't he, that Mbeumo has chosen his path. He's made his path clear. And for whatever reason, Brentford seem to be standing in his way. So this ideal that he's happy to stay whatever, I don't buy that. I don't buy that. And when maybe we should come out. We don't play dirty at all in the transfer market. Maybe we should come out and tell them how it is. Look, he's come out. This is what they want. And Mbeumo wants to come to United and force the issue, force the hand. There's a lot going on with other clubs that are getting stuff done. And we're in a situation where we can't get stuff done. And if we do look at Watkins, he's 3 or 4, 5th choice. What are we doing dicking around with 5th choice strikers? You can't do that anymore. I've said this before and I'll say it again. You've got to draw the fucking line. You have to draw, yes, we all know Watkins would be better than Højlund. That's not under debate. It really isn't under debate. But you've got to draw the line. We don't want you if you're 5th choice. We can't keep going from 1st to 5th. How's Amorim supposed to succeed if he's not getting what he wants, if he's not getting who he wants, if he's not getting the players that he wants, that he's studied, that he's gone to Wilcox, he's gone to Parada and said, look, here's where, he would have shown them videos, slides, attacking format, and how he wants them to play, and all of this. And yes, you need a short list of strikers, but you can't go deeper than 3. 2 max, really, but 3 as an absolute limit. If you start shopping beyond 3, you've got problems, because you didn't want him in the first place, Jarvis. You didn't want him. That's the thing. This is what we've got to realise, and we've got to really understand. The manager doesn't want Watkins, because if he did, he would have gone and got Watkins weeks ago, because I think Watkins is a very easy deal to do, because he's really pissed off at Villa. It's an easy deal to do, Watkins. So I think we've got a real problem if we cannot get across the line who Amorim wants to get across the line, because it's just going to be an issue moving forward. Watkins will know he'll stand there if we sign him, holding up the shirt, big smile on his face, and we're all going, mate, we didn't want you. The manager didn't want you. And then Amorim's got to do his press conference. Yeah, I've been watching Watkins ever since I was at Sporting. I was considering, when I was maybe thinking about going to West Ham, I was thinking I'd like to get Watkins in. Absolute rubbish. And Watkins is saying that, well, I've been a United fan since I was 8 years old, and all this kind of nonsense. As none of us want to hear. Nobody's interested in that. As good as Watkins is, it'll be hugely underwhelming for us.
That's it. That's the thing. And Mark Davis mentioning this. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, the only good thing about him is he's Premier League proven.
Yeah.
And that he is. He is Premier League proven. None of us really wanted Delap. Let's be clear. Let's be honest. None of us really wanted Delap.
Agree.
So I think, if we go to Watkins, look, Huncho's got a point. Could it have a Van Persie kind of style? Watkins is a player that if you can get at the right money, and I'm talking 20 mil, and you're not going to get him at 20 mil, he falls into the Emi Martinez category. If you get Emi Martinez for 20 to 25 mil, they fall into a category of great value. Anything above 40, it's not great value, because then if you're looking at 40 mil, 50 mil, 60 mil for Watkins, okay, what are you dicking about then with Mbeumo and Gyökeres? Yeah. What are you dicking about? This is the whole facade that is in right now within football. Common sense absolutely flies out the window, because we're all fed up with the transfer market already. Everyone's fed up with it. We're fed up of talking about it. We're fed up of being linked with different players. You go from Watkins. I mean, the Moise Kean things, I know you want to talk about it later, has raised its ugly head again. But Saudi Arabia in for him, he's never going to earn the money the Saudi Arabia are offering him. Never in a million years. He's the type of player that should take the Saudi Arabia money and go and get it.
Yeah.
He really is. Watkins, for me, better suited for Newcastle. Much, much better suited for Newcastle.
He would be kind of similar to the other guy who's retiring. What's his name? Wilson.
Yeah, Callum Wilson. Yeah, I mean, Callum Wilson's been injured. Watkins hasn't got a great injury record, as we know. I think Rushmano is reporting the truth. Absolutely, he was ahead of the game in May. Absolutely, but it's just another link to another player that happens in and around transfer time for us. So I want to see us get serious. But I don't know what we're doing right now. I did see the meltdown yesterday, but the meltdown was,
let's dissect the message from Laurie Whitwell, who's not Ornstein, by the way. He works for the Athletic, yes, but I feel it's more of an opinionated journalist than a tier one investigating reporter in a way. So he says that Olly Watkins among FCs considered at MUFC if Rasmus Højlund leaves. So he's considered if Rasmus Højlund leaves. So first of all, I think it's a tiny chance that Rasmus Højlund leaves. And if you think of it, it will be difficult for us to sell him. We have to sell him with a loss. So most likely we have to just loan him out. And would we be able to buy a player if we don't get any money for Rasmus? So again, if you think sensible, I feel this is not very reliable in a way. And who's
leaking that? Who would leak that? Who would pick up the phone to Whitwell, or who would Whitwell phone an Old Trafford or agent that says, "Oh God, I've got a scoop for you. What's that?" Well, this is what I'm hearing, Laurie. I don't know how true it is, but this is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that if United can get rid of Højlund, either on loan or some kind of sale value, Watkins is your man. That's what I'm hearing. And I'm thinking, what the? Because that's how it goes in journalism. That's what it is. Sometimes in modern day society, people go in and say, I'm a journalist because they've got a camera and they upload to YouTube. You're not a journalist at all. You don't understand the way that journalism works. This, to me, is lazy journalism. I've got to put something out there. We've got to keep going with something. Phone up.
But it's the Laurie Whitwell Monday report. We always talk about him. He comes in once a week with a full report on the latest nothing news.
Yeah, exactly. And he goes out and he's got it out and he's pushed it out and he gets his clicks, he gets his views, and he gets it with the Athletic, and the Athletic push it through. But, if you're Olly Watkins, you're Rasmus Højlund, you're Marcus Rashford, the three protagonists that are actually embroiled in this little bit of drama, then you think to yourself, they know it's all bollocks. If you wanted Olly Watkins, it's an easy deal. So I honestly, I don't know where we're at with the journalism in this country right now, and keep on using Manchester United.
We do. But going through the full report, they said full focus on Brian Mbeumo deal, then outgoings. So first of all, we need to sign Brian Mbeumo, and then we need to focus on outgoings. Maybe we can sell Højlund. Are we willing to sell him with a loss, just to get some cash in? And if then we are supposed to consider Olly Watkins. This is the report. It's too many if, buts, and maybes, and it's almost too late. He will come in like 10th of August.
Yeah, it's too late. It's too late. And we go back to yesterday.
Yeah.
And we are able to look at Chelsea as a yardstick, irrespective of the money side. Manchester United has money. We've made it very, very clear that we've had money. We were 50 million the right side of PSR, if you believe all the reports. 50 million the right side of PSR. So money's not an issue for us. We didn't sell Bruno because apparently we don't need the money because they knew we were the right side of PSR. According to, again, Jarvis, according to reports.
Yep.
And so Chelsea, there's loads of people talking about it. Just general people just talking about it yesterday. Saturday morning, they weren't in for him. Saturday lunchtime, they stick a bid in. Saturday night, which was refused, Saturday night is accepted, and he's pouncing about. He's joining the World Club Cup campaign. João Pedro. This happens. This goes to prove that if you act correctly and you act in the right mannerisms, you can push a deal through very, very quickly. Now, I do think the Mbeumo deal is a bit of a problem. Brentford think they hold all the cards. And I like the fact, actually, Giles, I'm being brutally honest with you, and also the devilish Taxicos, I love the fact that Brentford are going to say to Mbeumo, sorry, mate, you don't go anywhere if we don't get what we want. Yeah. Tough. So, in the same instance, why the hell can't we say to Garnacho, tough, mate, you're gone? Basically, it's the flip side of it, but they're saying to Mbeumo, mate, if we don't get the money, you ain't going anywhere. You're under contract for us for another 2 years. Kick up a fuss, cry, do whatever you like. It ain't happening. What is wrong with us doing this? Why can't we have this attitude anymore about players in general?
Yeah.
Why can't we adopt this attitude with these particular players? I think a lot of it is negotiating tactics, but I think we've been played out for years in the ether. Players using Manchester United to get better deals and better deals and better deals. It'll be interesting to see if we have known, Jarvis, like you said the other day, 5 weeks ago, and Brentford categorically said to us 5 weeks ago, this is the deal. It's not changing. However many times you come back, you go forward, it's not changing. The player has been told, this is the deal. It's not changing. The agent's been told, this is the deal. It's not changing. So it's up to you to do what you do. And Manchester United go in, say, right to the agent, go back and do this, go back and do this, or we'll go in and do this, and we'll go in and do this. But if Brentford, and he's pretty much said today on television, Sky Sports admittedly, but on TV, the deal is what we want, and that's it. And we've told him he's not going anywhere. So for me, I want to see us act like that, but with players moving, you're gone. I don't care whether you cry, you're gone. We don't need this charade that we're having through again. And it's really beginning to wind me up at the minute. Like, it really is beginning to wind me up.
Yes, 100%, Stu. And a lot of people agree with you. Trevor Wade comes in and says journalists are only after clickbait stories. And that's 100% true. I just want to say thank you to Jonathan Liljenberg coming in with the 20 Swedish kronor super chat.
I'll give you the glasses, Jonathan. I'll give you the glasses. You get the glasses.
I'll do the
legend. Thank you so much, man. Whoa. You pulled that one out of the bag.
Point it away from the microphone. And
yes. Catherine, once again, I'd like to apologise for Jarvis's feeble effort the other day for you, but let it be known he did try his best. He said he almost along doing it. He was blowing that hard to give you the fanfare.
Maybe we can use this money coming in from Jonathan Lillenberg and buy you one of these tutus.
Yeah, get a Devilish Tacticos one, and you do that. You take that out and do that. I think you should. Anyway, guys, look, Devilish Tacticos. I don't want to put a downer on the night. I don't, but I'm fed up with it. Sorry. Go ahead.
Let's talk about Jonathan's super chat. He says, I don't feel positive about Amorim's transfer window. And I think a lot of us feel the same way, Jonathan. And, I'm starting to get a little bit worried, but I think things will kick off when we come to the next financial year, 1st of July. And hopefully when the Embuemo deal is official, we will start to move on outgoings. And as soon as we get some players sold, I think we will try to swoop in on other targets. That's just how I see it. But I think we are running a little late. Time is on the essence. And at the end of the day, the one that's going to be hurt by this is Amorim. He needs this preseason. He's been struggling. He's a new manager. He's unexperienced. The only chance he has is to get his starting 11 right away, starting to drill them, play together, learn the system as quick as possible, and then be ready to fire from game week 1 in the Premier League. And if not, I think he will struggle, because we saw last season how hard it is for an unexperienced manager to turn things around. Because when the shit gets going, the going gets tough. And that's right for Amorim.
And we also know, by the way, Jarvis, and I want to get your opinion on what the Brentford sporting director said in a minute. But going on to back to your very valid point right now, also the Devilish Tacticos have offered similar opinions in the chat. Straight away, there's a certain factor of those players that are still here from last season that will down tools at the click of a finger.
Yes.
And he can't afford that. He can't afford it. And we're going to
know how spineless some of these players are.
We're going to destroy another manager at this rate. We really are going to destroy another manager. So tomorrow has got to be, we've got 6 days. They come back a week on Monday, 7th of July. We've got 6 days to do something solid to give Amorim a chance, a real chance of being able to compete. But I wanted to get what your opinion, Jarvis, on what you thought about the interview that the sporting director from Brentford had to say. Because obviously, to
be honest, I think it's the only real report we've got so far in this transfer window.
Yes.
And he speaks the facts, and they don't have to sell Mbeumo. They're not forced to sell him. I don't think Brentford needs the money. The player Mbeumo, he's not forcing his way out.
No,
he will happily play another season. If we can't strike a deal with them. So I think he's stating the obvious, but no one said it out loud in the official era from the club. So maybe it's just a negotiation tactics. They're playing hardball. They have said their price. They want 62.5, maybe a little bit more add-ons, easier add-ons, and how we set up the payment plan. Do they get half the first season and 10 million after that?
They'll want a big lump sum, won't they? So they can go out. Yeah. I mean, they've got money anyway, but they want, they've got 13 million.
But when it comes to negotiations, they have the upper hand. They have the player we want.
Of course they do. They hold all
we try to haggle, we try to drive down the price, but we have nothing.
We got exactly. And do you know what? Today they've been publicly outed, the club. And Brentford have made it very, very clear to everybody that this is what we want. If you give us what we want, Mbeumo goes, because we know that Mbeumo wants to go. He's chosen his path. He said he's chosen his path. And that's how you do it. I honestly, Jarvis, it's aggravating. But as you quite really say, look, it's a new financial year as of tomorrow. See what happens.
New people tuning in. Samik's football coming in and say hello. All checking in from work, listening to the show. Big up, Meeks. Good to see you. Hope you enjoy the weather and work today. It's hope it's all good back there in where are California or on the
California,
west coast. Whistler is in the house. Dave 147 came in. Vopes is here coming in and say big up Jarvis, do and chat, please smash them like people. Yes, we have 191 people watching, about 70 people watching on Tactical Devils YouTube. So please do us a favor, smash that like, please smash the like, smash the like. I can say it one more time, smash the like.
Smash the like.
Yes,
Mark,
now we said
Big
it
Mark
5
Langridge
times.
is in the house. Good to see Mr. B's just come in.
Mr.
Volps
B.
is here. Niall's in. Niall, great to see you, Niall.
Been a while. Good to see you, Niall.
Thank you for joining us.
Mark is here. Big up, Mark.
Good to see
Mark,
you, Mark.
if you want to come on, just let us know. I'll send you the link.
Yeah, anyone wants to come on, let us know. We'll send you the link. Just let us know in the chat.
Let us know in the chat. Yes, but there's been some rumors today. I don't believe this Olly Watkins rumor too much. I think it's just maybe it is us, the club, just trying to force through the Gyökeres deal, because I don't think the Gyökeres deal is dead. And this was the main topic of the show. I was going to talk a little bit about the conflicting reports that came in.
I'm interested in your theory on this one, pal. I'm interested in your theory.
Yeah, well, it's not just a theory, but because there's been some conflicting. First of all, we all believe that the Gyökeres wanted to come to Man United. That was number one, and Arsenal was after Cesko.
Yes.
Then we learned that that Gyökeres wanted Arsenal, or he preferred Arsenal. After that, another reports came in and said he didn't say Arsenal per se. He said he wanted Champions League. He preferred Champions League. So suddenly, do we want Arsenal or not? And Arsenal are set on Cesko, and I think that's the main thing. And we know their sporting directory likes to operate deals simultaneously at the same time and pick one of them. And this is how it all goes. And we all know there were a gentleman's agreement, about 60 million release clause for Gyökeres. Suddenly, his agent, Sporting, none of them. Sporting wants more. The new president or the new guy in Sporting, because their old guy Hugo Viana went to Manchester City, the one that Gyökeres made the deal with.
Yes.
So everything is starting to get really complicated, and I think everything stops because of the price. Sporting wants 80 million. The clubs, Arsenal and Man United, are set on 60 million because that's what was told at the time when they laid down the interest. So now I think everything is by a standstill because of this price range, 80 to 60 million. It's 20 million pounds. And, when time goes, I think Arsenal will understand that they need to go for Cesko. And then Gyökeres, do we have any other choice than to come to Man United? Or because he's not going back. He's not going back on preseason. He's on a strike.
Yeah, it's what we've heard, isn't it? Yeah.
He's gone out publicly. He's not going back to Sporting. So where does it leave us when it comes to Gyökeres? I think Gyökeres deal will happen. That's just my gut feeling. But I think it will take a little bit of time. Patience is on the essence right now. Yeah. Because I think Sporting will understand that Gyökeres won't come back. And what are they going to do? Let him play for the reserves for another season, or do they take 60 million?
Well, I think you take 60 million euro. Mark would like to come on, Jarvis, if we can find a way of getting the info to it.
Mark, if you have me on X, Bowley77, send me a DM and I will send you the link.
And you are welcome. Yes. Look, you're absolutely 100%. And I'm not going to go and backtrack on what we've spoken about. We've been very, very clear, Jarvis, that there is only a finite amount of clubs that need a number 9. And we are one of them. We know that.
Yeah.
Gyökeres knows it. His problem is when you throw publicly, supposedly, your eggs in the single basket, but yet they're courting another player, then Arsenal have the total, upper hand as to what they want to do. I like Manchester United, but I'm holding out for Arsenal. So Manchester United are looking at it and saying, okay, well, all right, then we will look. Maybe not at Olly Watkins or Moises Keane, but we might look at Viktor Oshimen. And we may determine that 400 grand a week, if that's what it is just a joke. And I would say it is a joke. And then they may look to decide whether or not to get behind Højlund and utilise money that we've already spent and really get the best out of Højlund. So those are our choices, aren't they? You know. And so Gyökeres has got himself into a bit of an issue if he's had this particular deal with Hugo Viana. If it is written in his contract, that's tough. There's nothing the sporting president can do about it. He can moan, cry, all he likes, but as soon as Manchester United or Arsenal lodge that 60 million euro, it goes directly into escrow. That's what happens in Spain and Portugal, and that is it. It has to be accepted. It's got to be accepted. Those, I believe, are the rules. It definitely are in Spain, and I believe they're the rules in Portugal as well. So if it was a verbal agreement, although a verbal agreement is still binding, it's harder to unless you've got that recorded.
Yeah.
And that is
according to the agent, they had it all written down on paper.
So then that's the thing. And from a legal standpoint, and I'm not a solicitor by any stretch of the imagination, but by legal standpoint, you've got grounding. All you can do is have grounding when you're in an argument from a legal perspective. You need standing to be able to go to a solicitor or go to court with some kind of standing. And Gyökeres believes he's got standing. That's clear. Sporting don't think they do. Gyökeres thinks that he does. But then his problem is when you openly flirt with Arsenal,
and
Arsenal go and buy Cesko, then he's really got nowhere else to go. He's hoping that Amorim will, throw him a bone, really. But then he's then got to argue his case with Sporting. So I think he's fucked up big time, really, if I'm being honest, for his camp and his agent. Going on strike is not going to do him any favours at all.
No, but we know Sporting can play hardball. They did when we tried to sign Bruno for the first time. I don't know if you remember, but he came in January.
And Rocco.
So I don't know how we can play this to get Gyökeres, but my gut feeling tells me that he's the one we want and he's the one we're going after. We're just putting out now feelers all around the European clubs. We are linked to Nkunku, Moise Keane, Watkins, players who can come in if, but, and when we can sell, let's say, Højlund and others. So in a way, I think, as Ridwan say, it's a bit of a PR disaster from him and his entourage. Yes, without a doubt, he effed up. But I think Amorim wants him, and I think he wants to come to Man United.
I think Amorim wants him.
I can't see Arsenal signing him. I see Biggs TV coming in. He has an Arsenal jersey in his thumbnail, so I assume you're an Arsenal fan. But, I have nothing against Arsenal. But I don't see Arteta signing two strikers this window. I think you are bound to Cesko. Now you are linked to Eze from Crystal Palace. How are Arsenal going to afford all of this? If you sign Gyökeres on top of it, we're talking about something in between 60 to 80 million extra. So, I don't feel it's a big chance that Arsenal is signing Gyökeres. I think I give it less than 25%.
I don't see Arsenal actually in for Gyökeres anyway. Again, I think that's his tactic. That's what he
unless something with Cesko comes up and the deal falls through. That's the only way I can see the Gyökeres deal is happening. And we talked about it. We saw the heat map, the difference between Gyökeres, the guy who's in the box, a lot of strong reds in front of goal, and Cesko almost operating like a false nine.
He plays a false 9 straight 10, doesn't he? So he's not that Gyökeres type of player. I don't see how Gyökeres fits into Arsenal's system anyway. If I'm being honest. I mean, he
No,
made it.
then Arteta needs to change his system, do the same as Pep did when he brought in Haaland.
Yeah.
So I feel it's something fishy going on, when it comes to this Gyökeres deal.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Yeah. I think it's really interesting.
But when you flip it, Stu, okay, why do you think Man United don't come in with a bid? If there's a contract, if they know there's a written contract, as the agent of Gyökeres says?
We can't go in for a bid while he publicly comes out and says, I want to go to Arsenal. You can't do it because it'll get leaked that United have put a bid in for it and it's been rejected, or he's turned United down.
The reports were backtracked. They said Champions League.
Yeah, he did. United don't need that heat right now. We just don't need it. We need everything off us as a club. This is why the Mbeumo deal's great.
But would you have problems, accepting Gyökeres as a Man United player because he said he prefers Champions League? The guy has ambitions.
My biggest issue is striking. His willingness to not go back to Sporting is my biggest problem. Okay. Because we can't afford players. We've got enough of those types of players already, Jarvis. We've got too many whiners in our club. I mean, Rojo was the last one, wasn't he, that we got from Sporting, who said he was he went on strike, didn't he, at Sporting because we had problems.
Yeah.
And Rojo's the last one to do it. I think in today's day and age.
Well, Bruno was the last one. We signed Rojo before we signed.
Oh yeah, Bruno. Yeah. I don't remember Bruno actually going on strike though.
He didn't go on strike. No. He didn't.
But,
the only one I remember was Anthony going on strike.
Anthony did it. Yeah. Look how that's turned out for us. But anyway, those are. I'm not so sure we want that type of player. However, again, it's all hearsay. We don't 100% know it's true. What's been said, it's all being played out again publicly. And, for me, if that's what he wants to do, that's what he wants to do. But do we want to welcome that type of player, that attitude, again, with open arms at Manchester United? I don't know is the answer to that one, pal. I'm kind of struggling with that one, if I'm being honest.
No, yeah, time will tell. But I don't know what the Devilish Tacticos feel about this Gyökeres thing, if it's going to happen or not. Because after all the strikers we've been linked, I think this is the most realistic. Even though he says he wants Champions League, but I can't see why Amorim can't convince him to come into the system.
Did Mark send you DM?
No. So you need to add me on X. Bowley77, BOLE77, and then I will accept you, and you send me a DM,
and they'll do it that way. Yeah. Other people, we may have their contact details already, so it's easier for them to come on. So if you do that, Mark, then Jarvis will add you.
Cool.
So it's the Gyökeres deal. I think we're all fed up of talking about him, aren't we? But it is.
It needs to be said.
It does. I think if Arsenal were really, really interested, then I think it's a deal they could do quite easily.
Arsenal, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a deal they could do quite easily. So again, there's some kind of sticking point. And on with you, Cesko to the number one priority.
Could it be that Gyökeres just made me think, out of the box? Could it be he's just sitting on the fence to see how United move in this transfer window?
Are you talking about
now when we sign Cunha and Mbeumo, would it be Gyökeres? Yes. Do you think he just sits on the fence just to wait it out to see what type of team he will? Yeah,
he could well do that. But again, you're playing a dangerous game, really. So, how are we feeling about tomorrow on the floodgates?
We have Mark in the green room. So should we bring him in? Bring him in,
Mr. Langridge. How are we?
Good evening.
Good evening,
guys. Evening.
Evening.
Oh, yeah, I'm good. Just got in from the other half's netball. So,
cool. Excellent.
Yeah, all go in our house, constant sport every night. So,
nothing wrong in that. Absolutely nothing wrong. We're just talking about Viktor Gyökeres.
Yeah, the elusive Gyökeres.
Well,
yes.
We don't. Yeah, yes. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm starting to call him Wesley. Wesley Gyökeres or something like that. But
or Frankie Gyökeres.
I don't think it's a deal we need to rush. I think he'll be the last player in the door purely on one fact: he knows the system. Unlike everyone else we have to bring in, they have to learn the system. Gyökeres knows the system better than anyone else in the team because it's made him who he is. So, yes, you want to work on the link up and things like that. There's other players I'd rather see us focus on more than a striker. And if we need Gyökeres or can get Gyökeres at the end, finish it off. But like you said, anyone who says they'd rather go to Arsenal, I'll be sacking my agent for saying that. Because I don't believe that was a player. I think that was an agent trying to create
agent stuff,
market. So,
but what's the job of the agent? The agent's job is to try to get as much money as possible for his players and the best available option. So maybe he's just playing the game, and he's known to be a kind of super agent, trying to.
As Trev says,
mix things up.
He only wants the mighty Tipton Town Gyökeres. But I might even turn him away at the door if he steps through the change room. I might turn him away as skipper of the mighty Tipton Town. It might be at the door, Gyökeres, out the door.
It's funny because last night, Stu, you made a very, very good point about his physical attributes.
Yeah,
I don't know if he is a bit like Nunes. They looked physical in their own league. They come into the Premier League where everyone is a brick wall, and they lose that attribute. It's not a gain; it's a loss. Because, like you say, you got Van Dijk, where everyone raves about him, but every striker is big and every defender is big and strong.
Yes,
but it's not the natural way in the Portuguese leagues. Actually, they're small, lean, and tactical.
Yeah, they're very. They're a lot smaller, aren't they? They're a lot leaner. They're a lot more quicker with the ball, more articulate with the football. Absolutely, yeah. And what we are in the.
Would you notice in Haaland? He's not bigger than Haaland, and Haaland's physicality has not led into as many goals in the Premier League as we thought he would. It's Man City have, but Haaland physically bumping players out the way doesn't happen.
Yeah, and he can't play football either, can he, Haaland? He's not great.
He can't play with back to goal, and he never did until he went to Man City. So,
but he's usually good in front of goal, though. That's not ideal, is it?
But I'm gonna say, guys, when it comes to Haaland, when he played in the Bundesliga, Dortmund played a lot on the counter, and he had a lot of space to run into. When he plays for Manchester City, they put the other team on the siege and play around them. So there's not much space to run into. He's mostly in a standstill inside of the 18-yard box, moving like 2 to 5 yards every time when he make a run. When he played at Dortmund, he had a lot of space. He ran into Sancho running down the wing, giving him a lot of assists. So it was a different world. And I also see the same when he plays for Norway. Haaland looks much better. He looks stronger. He scores a lot of goals, and he comes with full force. And you kind of respect him as a unit when he plays for Norway. But he doesn't seem to be the same player playing for this Manchester City team. So the system for the manager makes up a good deal when it comes to how to assess players. So I think a lot of this Haaland thing comes down to the system of Pep.
Yeah, definitely.
The right player for the right system.
Yeah,
I believe you were just saying that Gyökeres doesn't fit the Arsenal system.
Yeah,
Cesko,
that's it.
I'm not even sure Cesko fits the Arsenal system, but they play, can't they?
I think he's more of a 10, isn't he? Cesko fit quite well in from out wide. He comes in out wide a lot, mainly the left, actually, doesn't he? So I did read somewhere, and I was talking to quite an old Arsenal season ticket holder. He'd been something like 20, 25 years. And they feel that next season particularly, if they do get Cesko, that they'll be looking to use, what's his name? Who's that waste of space striker that Chelsea had from the German league? What's his name? Name escapes me.
What, if it's at Arsenal?
Yeah.
Havertz.
Kai Havertz. They want to play him as a false nine through the middle because at periods of last season, he was quite dangerous, very, very effective in that position. I think Cesko with Martinelli, Saka, the deep running play of our good old friends. What's his name? Crikey, I've got a name freeze today. I really have.
Saka?
No.
Martinelli,
Odegaard coming from deep is a great final six for them. And actually, when you think about how they would play from a fluid perspective, yeah, absolutely. Cesko fits nicely into that system. I don't see Gyökeres fitting into that system because he does run the channels quite well, but he doesn't float in and around as much as a Cesko would because Cesko can play right across the front three, no problem. You could push Havertz out to the left, Martinelli out to the left, Saka right, Odegaard. Difference really is a difference. And Rice backing them up, by the way, don't forget. Yeah. You've got a really nice fluid system, and so I can see why they would want Cesko over Gyökeres. For me, I always said Oshimen would be my favourite striker because he is more of an out-and-out nine, which we need, than Gyökeres is. And Oshimen, if you look at where he plays, he lives in the 18-yard box. He lives round in the penalty spot, and that's where he gets most of his goals, and he's massively dangerous in that area. Now, take Cunha and Mbeumo out when we get Mbeumo, and you push in Ahmad and Garnacho, Oshimen's going to be less effective. But putting Cunha and Mbeumo, he's going to be more effective. And that's what I think Amorim is looking at with Gyökeres in particular. A, he knows him. B, he knows, and here's the real key to it again, that Cunha and Mbeumo can switch with him because Cunha can play from the middle. Can play as a deep line 8 as well. People don't like it, but he can, and he runs deep with the ball. If you watch him live, you'll see he comes deep and takes it from the 6 a lot. We know where Mbeumo plays. He runs the right channel brilliantly, as Jarvis demonstrated with his heat map. And so you're going to see a different type, I think, of Gyökeres. So if Gyökeres goes out right, Mbeumo goes in the middle, Gyökeres goes out left, Cunha goes in the middle. You've got Bruno backing him up, Zirkzee backing him up, whoever we have as the 6, and then you've got the 2 wing backs, whoever we play. Because I think who we put start as wing back is kind of under debate at the minute, isn't it? Let's be honest. So we again will have a wonderful fluid 6, and that's what we need. We need that. And City have been doing it for years. We know they have. Yeah. Look at the likes of Bernardo Silva. He is as slight as it gets. David Silva, as slight as it gets, but they've got different categories of player, different attributes, different sizes, different physicality in there. And that's why they're so close to scoring. Exactly the same with Salah and Liverpool. Exactly the same with them. And they've added into their midfield. So I can see what he wants to do, and I understand the Gyökeres, but I think, and Jarvis will tell you, Mark, I went on record 3 weeks ago. I was asked Gyökeres, Oshimen, because I just think he's a bit more better suited to what we want.
I don't think you're alone when it comes to this, Stu.
Yeah.
When it comes to Oshimen, because I think he's the more proven striker, and he's done it at a higher level. Okay, Gyökeres has done it in the Premier League, but he stops there. That's just a handful of games. The Portuguese league is something else. It's not even top 5 in Europe. Not taking a dig at the Portuguese league. So it's hard to say if those 50 goals plus is how much do they count for when it goes to the Premier League.
We don't know it in the World Club Cup, isn't it? Benfica are there. If Sporting had been in the World Club Cup, we would have a better assessment of Gyökeres right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
I mean, Chelsea haven't really been in for him, have they? We didn't know they were in front of the striker. Yeah, we didn't know they were in front of the striker till yesterday or Saturday, and they just dealt with it, didn't they? Liverpool, we know, are interested in Isak. That's where their interest lies. Is Isak? We know this. They've been forthcoming with it. So Newcastle are going to try and play hardball.
TK as a backup, Liverpool.
100 mil. They're still looking for
TK's too expensive. He's
too expensive.
Priced out.
Yeah.
But you're right. Why is Gyökeres not there? Because of this deal. Everyone's gone, well, this is a bit too messy for me. I don't want to get involved. So they need to sort that out, and then the offers might come in. That's my belief.
It's really interesting. But who else out there is there? Who else would you want that can necessarily do it? Jarvis did a piece on was it the Bruges guy or Antwerp? Sorry, who's the
strikers? Goncalo Ramos. We talked about Goncalo Ramos yesterday.
No, not the PSG guy. The striker in Belgium, in the Belgium league. 6 foot.
Yeah. The big guy.
He's only one season.
He's had one season, but we did a piece on him, and we weren't 100% sure, were we? Moises Kean. Again, we're not. 52 million for Moises Kean. No.
But it's like Ramos. You said about you looked at Ramos yesterday. If he can't get in the PSG side, do we really want to be bringing him in? When PSG didn't have a striker for the first half of the season, and then Dembele hit the second half of the season running with 20+ goals. So he still wasn't getting in.
Yeah, they're just out of this world, aren't they? PSG. But Nkunku's been mentioned. I saw today that Mohamed Kudus has got an 80 million release clause, or 82 million. What the fuck's that all about? We're going to pay 82 million for an injury prone. I mean, come on, do me a favour. So if that's all happening, my point is, if Moises Kean's at 52 mil, Kudus is at 82, and Nkunku, what was the? I think probably cheap, isn't he? I would imagine
40 something, I believe.
40, 50 mil. Yeah. You're not a million miles away from paying the Mbeumo fee and the Gyökeres fee, if that's the case, are you? So why, again, why are we dicking about? And I think that's the frustration that we're seeing right here. But Oshimen for me all day long. I've said it, and I think it'd be brilliant. But where does Oshimen want to go? Nobody seems to know. What Oshimen wants to do.
This is the guy you were talking about.
Yes.
Arkodare. The guy comes from. This was reported like a week ago, so we talked about it. He's a big guy, but I don't know if he has what it takes to play in the Premier League.
Agreed.
What team is that? This is the Belgium.
The Belgium League, yes.
Yeah, he's in the Belgium League. I can't remember which club he's at, but it's the Belgium League. But
we didn't go for John Duran, who's just now come out of thingy and gone to Fenerbahce or someone like that.
It's unbelievable, that, isn't it?
So he's come out. I would take Ivan Toney.
We spoke about it.
Ivan Toney to come back.
I said you get 40 million. Ivan Toney for 40, I reckon.
Yeah. So that's 2 Premier League proven ones, and we're still only really being linked with Gyökeres, right? All the other ones are potential hearsay. Oshimen has been linked with everyone.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we're not paying him 400 to 500,000 a week.
No,
so
absolutely,
no one's signing him. End of. That's he's done. He's finished his own deal.
But this came out today. Nkunku. United has been offered Nkunku, who is desperate to leave, and this was reported 5 days ago too. And Rob Dawson, is not most reliable, but it's something. I think Chelsea is trying to offload him. They have enough strikers. They have
Nkunku. Is it a fit on Nkunku? Is a really, really solid. But he's not an out-and-out 9, is he?
He's injury prone.
He's injury prone.
You can't risk it.
He's another wide striker.
Yeah.
Or what? Your front three. He is a wide.
And I think he can play all 3 positions, so we would be like an interchanging front 3.
Yeah. But he's not really a 9. He's not a through the middle. I want us to see it get us a through the middle 9. That's what I want, and that's why I'm not particularly interested in Watkins. Yes, admittedly, let's be honest, better than Højlund. Let's be fair, but I don't think he suits us. We're never in a million years going to get Isak. And let's face it, we'd all take Isak tomorrow, any one of us. But that's not going to happen.
100%.
It just isn't going to happen. So, and one of the points we were making the other day is that there's only 2 or 3 clubs, Mark, top-end clubs that need a striker. Bayern don't need one. City don't need one. Arsenal are looking for one. Liverpool don't need one, really. Newcastle don't need one. AC Milan don't need one. Real Madrid don't need one. Barcelona don't. Nobody really needs it. So the strikers, and really, is there a striker that really stands out above everyone else that you've really got to go and snare?
No, and
that's
where my heart lies. If Gyökeres is your number one striker at the club, like Wilcox is going, he's our number one target. Right now, we can't get him. So go on to a number one target in a different position. Let's not get someone who might not even match up to Rasmus, because they're all gambles. They're not Premier League proven. Watkins is the only one where maybe he works.
Yeah.
Coming from the Premier League, he could work because he can hold the ball up. He can run in behind. But I don't think his link-up play is very good, which might be a necessity. Rasmus's link-up play is not very good. He's Prem proven now. Not proven in the way we want, but he is Prem proven.
Yeah, but Watkins gives you a similar output to Strand Larsen at Wolves. And Strand Larsen is a better hold-up player and he got about 13 goals in the last season, Jarvis, Strand Larsen.
Strand Larsen, yeah. We have
13, 14 in a
15 something, yeah.
Something like that. He did quite well. Great hold-up play. Big lad. But again, we wouldn't even consider Strand Larsen. So if you're not going to consider him, why would you consider Watkins? And this is the
I
thing.
think he just recently signed a contract with the Wolves.
You're not going to get Strand Larsen anyway, even if you wanted
too expensive for his level, and I think
you're
that's
not going to get him anyway.
Yeah. We also have this Samu Omerodion from Porto. I think he's a massive striker. Someone that we should be looking at, but probably too expensive. 120 million, I believe. He's young, scored. I think it was second place goal scorer in Portugal after Gyökeres. 35 goals, I believe. So he.
It's the same theory, isn't it, Jarvis? That he's coming from Portugal, so he might look great in Portugal, but he's coming from Portugal.
Same theory.
You've got to tar him with the same brush as Gyökeres.
100%. So that's why we're not going for him. But he's a good option. He's a hold-up striker, I would say, occupying the box. He's strong, and I think he could do a job. But we're not linked to him, so we're not going to talk about him. But there were some questions from Genghis Khan about a specific player that we haven't mentioned. He said, Jarvis, do any movement on the Nicholas Jackson transfers? So let's just do the Daily Jackson. So tonight, Daily Jackson, we have this one. Arsenal have added Chelsea forward Nicholas Jackson to their list of striker targets.
No, they haven't.
It's from none other than Duncan Castles, the guy who was relevant 5 years ago. So read it and weep. And there's also other updates from Football Insiders that Aston Villa have made preliminary talks for a move for Chelsea star Nicholas Jackson. And pay attention, they say Chelsea star Nicholas Jackson.
Wow. Look, that Duncan Castles. So we're in for Cesko and Gyökeres. Oh, and also Nicholas Jackson. Do me a favour. Come on. Now, Villa, different kettle of fish. Completely different story. It's like Watkins going to Newcastle. Great fit for Newcastle. Jackson, I think it'd be absolutely ideal for Villa. The way that Villa attack the wings, I think it'd be perfect for Villa.
Perfect for us. Let's just
getting the chance to play with John McGinn. And let's face it, people might take the piss out of John McGinn, but Fergie was desperate to sign him.
Good
John McGinn, a fantastic footballer, built well, great tackler, good on the ball, good crosser, good set piece taker. He'd be perfect for Jackson. I think Jackson will thrive at Villa. I really do.
And that wraps up the daily.
Daily Jackson.
Daily
We need to do a Daily Jackson thing, don't we? Talk
Yes.
Sport coming to us because I'll say, well, I'll claim we're doing the Daily Arsenal, the Daily Jackson.
We have Robert coming in. Big up, Robert.
Robert,
Just hello, everyone. And I just want to remind everybody that you need to smash the like. We have 261 people watching, 80 on YouTube. So please do us a favor, smash the like and subscribe if you are new. So now I said it, and now you have to do it.
55 likes so far. Have you liked it, Mark?
Yeah, I liked it.
Good lad.
I got a question for you guys.
Go on.
Out of all the players we've been linked to, say we signed them all, where does Bruno fit in this team?
Well, we had this debate last night, and we started it. I asked the question, and then me and Jarvis decided we'd just sweep it under the carpet.
Yeah, that's what most people are doing, but Bruno's the one being moved around the pitch at the moment.
Yeah, we swept under the carpet. I did raise it. Jarvis kind of like, oh God, how do we answer that? And we gently swept under the carpet, fearing nobody would know. Well, the answer to that is very simple, unfortunately. This grand gesture that Bruno gave us in the summer can never not be forgotten. And so it's Bruno and that's it. And that's how it's going to be. It's Bruno and look, again, I think he thrives with Cunha, personally. I really do. I think him and Cunha are made for each other. I think Mbeumo and Bruno, I think they're made for each other. I really do. I think Bruno is going to be absolutely delighted to pass a ball that's going to stick at a player's feet. And he's either going to get it back or the player's going to run. And I think Bruno is going to probably add to his output in terms of goals and assists.
Bruno pass the ball to feet?
Not really, but the good thing about Cunha is, and Mbeumo, they can run in behind. Now, look at that. And if you look at the dynamic between Mbeumo and Wissa, for example, that was a goal and assist pretty much every other game each, wasn't it? Give or take. And Wissa's a fantastic finisher. Let's be honest.
Yes.
He's a fantastic finisher. But the movement that Mbeumo offered and the movement that Wissa offered, the likes of Norgard, was brilliant for them in central midfield. You know, I 2-3 years ago, Mark, when we got beat 4-0 on the opening day of the season by Brentford, I accused them of playing under-8s football. And I got absolutely vilified by the Brentford fans. They went for me big time. I mean, big time. They did a whole hour about me on the Brentford's YouTube channel. They went for me big time. Know nothing about football, etc., etc. And all I was talking about was their ability, actually. But of course, I was slightly angry we got beat 4-0, so I maybe didn't articulate it properly. But I was talking about their ability to sustain a quick, fast press.
Yeah.
They didn't zonally press; they pressed in your face, bang, 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 bang. And under-8s football, as you know, Mark, Jarvis is experiencing it at the moment. As much as you tell these kids to try and stay in position, they're like flocks of sheep. They just follow each other around. That's what 100%.
Yeah, bumblebee football. They follow the ball, but the thing is, they've done it so well. They left only one out ball, and they knew where it was going to go.
Exactly right, and that's what Brentford did. Adapted with us that day, and we got absolutely smashed off the park. Literally smashed off the park. And we couldn't cope with their attitude. And the likes of Norgard in there at the time, and I don't know whether Mbeumo was playing at that particular time, and I know Wissa was in and around the team. They were just constantly footballers that wanted to win a game of football. And that's the type of attitude that Mbeumo is going to bring, the type of attitude that Cunha is going to bring. And that's the type of attitude we need to rub off on Bruno again. Reignite the Bruno that came 6 years ago, when he was doing that cute little pass to Martial to score against City that time, that little chip free kick, and Martial goes in and scores, delivering smaller, tighter passes rather than Hollywood passes, as Jarvis likes to call them. If we can get Bruno back to that level, because he can trust Cunha, he can trust Mbeumo, he could trust a 9, whoever that 9 is, he could trust Ahmad a bit more if he plays wing back, or Mazzari, or I don't want to say Dallo, Jarvis. Don't let me say Dallo, please.
Dallo-ness.
No, I'm the same.
Dallo,
I'm the same.
but maybe Dorgo on the left-hand side, and he can trust these players. And maybe, just maybe, Amorim can unlock real potential out of this team. But we need the players in to be able to do it.
You got to speak with respect when you mention Dallo's names, because no one can do standstill stepovers with whatsoever efficiency in the Premier League.
You're absolutely right.
Apologetic. He's so apologetic. I love him.
Sorry. We coined the phrase Dallo-ness a few weeks ago. We coined that phrase on here because we just Dallo's just Dallo-ness again. We just don't need that. We want a patient team. Mr. B speaks a lot of sense, as Vita. Everybody in our chat speaks a lot of sense when it comes to football. They understand, and we do need patience now. We don't want everybody running and jockeying around. We want sharp, crisp passing into Cunha. Cunha flips it across or takes on. See, Cunha's got the ability to beat the first man and the second man.
He tore us apart. His first goal against United is where he ran through 3 or 4 of us in midfield.
4 players, didn't he? Yeah, 4 players, if you remember. And he ran from, where did he run from?
His own half.
He ran from deep. He ran from almost a 6th position because that's where he comes. He wanders the pitch beautiful. And if we can get that into our play, we could have a really special season. I know it sounds daft, but you guys know as well as I do. It only takes 1 or 2 players to really lift the group and adapt and change something that makes it a more powerful 11. So that's what I'm hoping.
Saying we need leaders, and we don't have enough leaders on the pitch. Yeah. And I mean, like follow them through a brick wall, fight for them. Leaders. You know, when there's a fight, half our players walk off. You know, they don't want to get involved. And instead of, I'm not saying enticing violence, but if there is, let's all pile in. You know, it's that team camaraderie. It's in the best of us, and it's in the worst moments as well. But it shows togetherness.
100%.
Going over what you said, you keep talking about our attacking side.
Yeah.
Bruno will be our biggest weakness in defensive formation because he will never be in the right position.
Yeah. And I don't disagree with that. I mentioned yesterday, actually, Mark, and you've heard me talk about this anyway. I know you have because we've spoken.
Well, you were talking about Ederson, weren't you? And Bruno.
Yeah, I like a single 6, as you know, and you know this.
And Ederson can play that. But we would have to insert. We wouldn't be able to attack through both wings, and that's what we don't do.
Yeah. That's what Jarvis was talking about. But I like a single 6. You know I do, and you know the reasons why I like a single 6. Work with your centre back, work with your keeper, etc., etc., etc. And you're absolutely right. And when we do have that issue with the defensive element, now we don't know, any of us on this panel tonight, and anyone in the chat, what Agate is going to come back next season. We don't know. He's had 12 months with us now, hasn't he? A proper 12 months playing.
Yeah.
What type of Agate? Has he understood the parameters of playing in a 6 in the Premier League?
Because, and no pre-season as well.
Exactly. As specialist as a 6 is, it is knowing your circle and your radius of that circle, like Rodri does with his eyes closed. And Sander Berge, I'm going to go with Sander Berge. I'm going to give him a lot of credit, Jarvis. I really am. Declan Rice to an extent. To watch the way that Declan Rice patrols his zone. Rodri patrols his zone. Berge patrols his zone. Norgard to an extent. People are laughing. I'll take the piss out of Norgard, but he knows what he's doing. That kid patrols his zone. You're reliant then on Bruno and your wing backs to cut in and help in transition, like a kind of a sad face, so to speak. But all dictated to by your 6, whoever that may be. And you watch Rodri when he's constantly talking, dragging people into position, and that's what we're going to need. So I agree with you, Mark, wholeheartedly.
No, it's a very interesting thing because Bruno's played that for the whole season in 2 different formations. And you pulled his heat map up last night, didn't you? And you'll notice he always drags himself out to the left.
We did.
He can hit a right-footed in-swinging ball straight into a goalkeeper's hands. Because a goalkeeper will love an in-swinging ball because it just comes straight into their hands like that. Why doesn't he drag out to the side where actually he can cross away from the defenders? Because he can't open his body out and run that way. He always goes out to the left. And when he goes out into that space, he gets in the way of the 10s from 8. So we're either going to play 3 10s and a 6 because I just don't believe he's got the discipline. I would love Ederson and Ugarte with 2 10s. So you play almost a box midfield.
Yeah.
I think that would change. No one plays the box midfield in the Premier League.
No, it would change the narrative. Absolutely. I mean, Edmir, great to have you on board, pal. Thank you very much for joining us. Do you guys understand English? We don't have money. Hello. Well, it'll be interesting to see. Contrary to common belief, there is money there, Edmir, but we won't know until we see signings come through the door. So you're absolutely right to make that point, fella.
So one thing United can do is sell the land. That's one thing they can do. If they know exactly where they're going to put the ground, the land around it, they can already sell to start being built on and make millions out of that. So the regeneration project, they own all the land around Old Trafford. So there's loads of assets.
We do have assets we can actually sell.
We've got
and the women's team. We can do it at Villa.
A 5-star hotel for $500 million. You can do it.
Yeah. We've got big asset. I did notice. I don't know how true it is. I did notice that Villa have officially sold their women's team, haven't they? I believe today. Or agreed.
It had been in talks the last couple of weeks since the cup final. After everything came out, really, of how the Chelsea deal was structured. Pretty much anyone who sells their women's team now has made a mistake because it's only going to go up in price. But they need the money, so they've had
big time. It's going to go up market. I 100% agree with you on that, pal.
Yeah,
because haven't they? Am I right in saying? Just correct me if I'm wrong, guys, and I could be wrong here. Am I right in saying they've just added 2 extra teams? They've increased the size of the.
They've had to because teams have pulled out of the lower leagues. So Blackburn Rovers folded their team.
Right. Okay. I didn't realize. Okay.
Lewis, which is the most well-known team local to me, is the equal pay team, are about to go bankrupt as of a week or 2 weeks ago because of the equal pay. And of course, they can't pull their women's team or change their pay structure because it made all the news worldwide. But they're the first team paying their first men's team and their first women's team the same wages.
Right.
Do you see what I mean? So it's become a bit of a problem. But then Chelsea came in with a 200 million, which is peanuts. It's literally peanuts.
Yeah.
But I don't think you guys have spoken about Douglas Luiz coming from Juventus on a couple of shows ago.
We mentioned him. We mentioned him a couple of times.
That's the biggest PR deal Man United could do.
It is, yeah.
Because Douglas Luiz is not a one-man purchase. It's a 2-person purchase.
Oh, they've broke up.
Douglas Luiz, you bring Alicia Lehmann with him for the women's team.
They broke up, haven't they?
Have they?
Yeah, they broke up a few weeks ago, yeah. Which is a real shame, actually, because you're right. Alicia Lehmann, yeah.
I think we were linked with him. They were trying to do that deal.
Yeah, not that we're drooling or anything when you say Alicia Lehmann. Everybody, we don't do that. The
nicest way. There's some lovely girls out there, but
she's a footballer, and that's as far as it goes.
She's like the Ronaldo of theirs, isn't she? Like she sells shirts,
and it's great. Actually, it's great that they've got those players. I know Bon Marti, for example, the Spanish player of the year. I believe she's well respected and well renowned. And then you got Megan Rapinoe in America that nobody really takes. So it's really quite Sameeks. Yeah, it's just all Sameeks. It's good lad, Sameeks. Fair play to you, pal. Yes, we'll just bow down to you, Sameeks. Legend.
But
60 likes from the Bootinator. Now it's time to smash like again.
Tons watching again. Yeah.
Well, there's been so many updates. I mentioned this one as we talked about it. The women's team and Aston Villa doing some loopholing. Trying to find a way out from the FFP hole that they dug themselves into. They have spent too much money, and they are forced to do something like this. But do you think it's something Man United can do to get some extra cash into this transfer window?
Too early.
But I understand that the women's team will be more worth in the future. But we are at the stage where we are dropping off from the other top 6 teams. If we fail to qualify for the next year's Champions League or Europe in total, we will struggle because the Club World Cup. A lot of teams got a lot of extra money now. Liverpool look really good. How are we going to catch up with other teams if we don't spend? Is it time to act?
Yeah, I don't think selling the women's team is the right way forward anyway. The fan base won't accept it.
So I've just looked it up. They only sold their women's team for 55 million.
No, yeah, it's worth nothing.
So that's literally probably just broken them even enough to not have to.
We've just spent 50 million. We've just spent 50 million on doing up Carrington, haven't we?
Yeah.
So no,
that's why I say you wouldn't do it, because the potential is so much higher later on. You'd be throwing money away. Can you? I don't know, some kind of lucrative sponsorship maybe of the women's team, but I can't see it.
But again, you'd have to use that to fund the women's team anyway. You've got to self-fund the men's team. You've got to self-fund the women's team. We've got assets as a club, and I think we should look at doing that. Looking at the assets we've got. Decide what we're doing in the stadium. It's all gone quiet, hasn't it, about the stadium? The first spade hasn't gone in yet.
Someone said that apparently they decided to hold off on it.
Wouldn't surprise me, because the golden
there was
spade.
Some article today. Can't remember where I saw it.
I haven't seen that. The golden spade hasn't gone in anyway. So until the golden spade goes in, we don't know what they can do with the selling of the land. If you want to earn money and raise money quickly, that you could do within probably about 6 weeks, you sell the naming rights to the stadium.
Yeah,
a fucking gold mine, absolute gold mine for the club. But again, they know they can't do that because we won't accept that as fans. We won't accept Manchester United's stadium not being called anything but Old Trafford. So it shouldn't be right now. But there are ways to raise money. Yeah, there are ways to raise money. But if I was, you can also have an influx of cash. Ineos can put money into the club. You are allowed to do that.
They're limited. They're limited how much they can put in.
But you are allowed to do that, yeah. And so the Glazers are allowed to do that. So they can put money into the club. There are, as Stephanie said, loopholes
brown envelope
around there. But the Glazers,
they're on the other side of Manchester.
Yeah, the Glazers know that. Or everyone else, they're waiting to see what happens with the City case. That's just dragging and dragging and dragging now. It's becoming beyond a joke. So anyway,
that could surely, if it's going to come out, it's coming out this week, as in first of the month. Transfer windows open. Everyone re-signs contracts. Everything starts 1st of July. I'm sorry, but now you got to start looking at points deductions, starting to minus things, whatever you're going to do, because all the relegated teams have already got caught. They're ready to sue for loss of earnings.
They are. Yeah. I've seen
everyone has been relegated through those, even if they've come up and gone back down. They're ready to sue. So they've got to do it, or it's not happening. It's got to be straight now. Do you know what I mean? Because Newcastle could blow us all out of the water. If goes Man City's way.
Yeah, they got money to burn, haven't they, Newcastle?
Yeah, richest club in the world.
Yes, by some.
They are by far. Why don't they drink tea at Villa Park? Because all the cups are in Manchester.
That is true.
Well, not lately, but maybe Manchester City. there's some other updates coming today, and it's all about Johnny Evans. Came some news this morning that Manchester United has confirmed Johnny Evans has been appointed as head of loans and pathways. So, what's his description in this job, being head of loans and pathways?
I know what his job is, and I know what his description is, and that's a PR stunt if I've ever seen one.
I believe it or not, Sir Nicholas Butt used to do it. So when he hung up his playing career, and then he became academy director, it's a really good pathway. For Johnny Evans to make his way up into
pathway. He's head of pathways.
Yeah, at Manchester United. Look, most clubs. Most clubs, and he's not talking about senior loan players. He's talking about youth. Youth loan players. So he'll be responsible for the development of the youth. The right clubs for loan. And basically, it's the pathway into the first team. And we haven't had enough going into the first team. Like Sir Jonathan Wheatley, likely to leave the club. Hugo, I think he's likely to leave the club. There's a lot of players that are likely to leave the club that haven't made the grade. And a lot of them...
they have had failed like loans. They've had 4 or 5 loans.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
over the last year and a half, and they've all failed to score any goals at a lower level.
Yeah, so exactly right.
It has to be said that we do look at this like as a club. Oh, it's someone just put up job for the boys. Johnny Evans is the nicest bloke you ever met. I have actually met this guy, and he is football through and through, and he doesn't care about himself. The last game of the season showed that when he didn't take the penalty. He is the perfect person to say, no, do you know what, mate? You're not getting in that team. Go out on loan and prove yourself. Nicky Butt was exactly the same. That's why it worked for him. Look at me. I couldn't get in the team behind Roy Keane and Paul Scholes. But I stayed. I fought for my place. And then eventually I had to leave. I made a mistake. I probably should have done some loans. And he would have got a bigger deal. Johnny Evans had a great career. But I do believe that's more a PR stunt. It's not just him. There will be other people finding all that, and then he goes, "That one's suitable for you. That's not suitable for you."
Yeah, it's good for the club. It's great for Evans, but it's needed. We're not the only club that has a loans manager. There's a lot of all clubs out there have them.
Most ex-players.
Yeah, they are, and it's getting the right players. And on me, Jarvis.
But Chelsea must have about 10. I know, for example, for a fact that Tori Andre Flo worked as a loan manager. He went out. He was vital for Mason Mount when he went on loan. Go out visiting players, giving them advice, talking to the clubs, doing whatever it takes. Yeah,
Arsenal had the same. Some of the unbeatables or the draws, as I like to call them. They done that. They stay on. They don't have their coaching badges. They're still doing them, and it's a job to do at the club because you don't want to leave because they don't know what to do.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's a good move for Johnny Evans. Good move for us. We need him around. It's brilliant. If you're a younger player,
have you spoken about Fletcher?
No, he's under 18s gaffer, isn't he? No.
He's going to look likely to come in from technical director, which he wasn't anyway, because they reworded it to 18s.
Yeah,
I'm not sure about that move because it interferes with him and his children.
That's
one thing I'll say on that. I don't like that.
I think he'll get both of them. I think both of them will play under 23s, won't they, next season? I think you're right. But no, I did hear about that. I think it's a good move for Fletcher.
He deserves it. He's always got his boots on the grass, and you can see he wants to coach, but he's obviously not. We're not jobs for the boys because otherwise he would have done more, wouldn't he? He would have been.
Nobody knew what
or someone.
Yeah, nobody had a clue what the technical director was, did they? Let's be honest. We don't know. Nobody really knew what he did. So.
Samix makes a great question when it comes to Evans. They made him head of loans. I'm curious to see if we get Collier, Amas, Leon, and other youngsters out on a loan for a season. Oh, and Malacia.
Well, you're not
you
going to. You
won't
won't
get Amos
loan.
and Leon.
Yeah, you won't loan Leon because you'll need Leon in for 6 months. You'll need him in and around the club and the squad. So you're not going to loan him. Amos, I would move Amos on, and I'd give Collier a loan as well.
Does Collier not depend if we bring in a midfielder? Because I think he's
a fantastic footballer. Yeah, I think he's a brilliant footballer. I'd send him to Brighton.
You can't send him back down here. He actually from the same town as me, so
yeah, I'd send him to Brighton. I think it'd be great for Brighton. And
I know what we can do with Collier. We should go for Wharton and give them Collier on a seasonal loan.
If you want to pay 100 million for Wharton, because that's what they said they wanted after the cup final for him. Yeah, that's not happening.
100 million.
Yeah,
peanuts.
I'd send Amos to Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth would be brilliant for Amos. Those are 2 clubs I'd send those to. But Leon's got to stay. We're going to keep laying him for at least 6 months in and around the club. Get used to the UK. Then we need to look at him as well because he's a powerful unit. Is Diego Leon a very powerful unit? So it'll be interesting to see how he adapts.
It'd be interesting to see what position he plays because people keep going, he's a left back, he's a left back. That's not where he was playing for his club. He was permanently sort of inverted. I think they might have played 3 at the back but it was an inverted wing back. He popped. You know how Dorgu comes inside of the 10 and does the underlap rather than outside. I think that's the sort of position he plays. So he might actually be better suited to the left and move Dorgu over to the right. You know, best case scenario, don't they? Both fit in well and hit the ground running.
Dorgu's probably better on the right as it happens. I think.
Yeah, no, I do agree. Anyone's better for some.
Robert comes in and say Diego Leon is going to be a fantastic footballer for Man United. Mark my words. I haven't done my due diligence and studied Diego Leon. I've seen some compilations, but I think we will know more about them in time. But he looks like a massive guy. Looks very mature for his age. You know, playing, going from, where did he come from? Was it the Costa Rica? No.
Paraguayan,
Paraguayan, yeah.
One of the pages on that.
He will obviously need some time to adapt to the league and to the English food and the climate and all of this. So we just got to give him time. And actually, I wouldn't mind sending him on loan right away to a championship club, League One type of club, and let him learn the English way. You know, takes a little time to adapt.
I don't think we can send him straight out because we had to wait to sign him. No, not. I think legally we can, but we had to wait to sign him. So he's been this United player for the last 8 months almost, and then you bring him in. He's got to then get settled in Manchester. Otherwise, he's never going to settle in the UK. He almost needs Bruno and Casemiro, Cunha, all these South American players around him, which we're going to have quite a few. We're literally going to be either South American or African at the moment. Mason Mount's going to be there. Oh, hi, I'm from England.
Good old Mason. Yeah.
Is this a comment from MUFC 14? Big up, my man. And he says he got the job on merit. There's no one on earth more qualified than him. The fact that his wife is a reporter on MUTV is just a coincidence. It has nothing to do with it. Johnny at the wheel by December. Well, this is one way to look at it.
She's been at MUFC for years, hasn't she?
Years. They met. They met when she was an intern there or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And then he went to Leicester and she stayed at the club.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's right. And even when he was at Albion, she stayed at the club, didn't she? So yeah.
But on other news, there's been some talks today about, as we mentioned, Wharton, and we mentioned yesterday Ederson, Atalanta's Ederson, and this came out. Rob Dawson again coming out with a lot of guff. But if Man United can boost their budget with incoming transfer fees, there might be a headroom to move for a midfielder like Atlanta's Ederson or Crystal Palace's Adam Wharton. As you mentioned, we are talking about 100 million for Wharton, so I don't see that happening. Ederson may be more likely. There were some links yesterday with Alfredo Pedula talking about Ederson. So could happen by the profile. We looked at his heat map yesterday. Stu liked it. He approved.
Yeah, I liked Ederson. Yeah.
I've wanted him for the last 2 years. 2 years since before he's burst onto the scene more in the cup final, didn't he, against the German team. I can't think who it was now. But he is the understudy to Casemiro in the national team. So everyone's saying he does box to box. Roy Keane used to do box to box.
Yeah,
He did.
Yeah. When you're young and you have all that energy, you do box to box, even if you're meant to be holding, because you can get back. It's as you get older, you stay back. You know, we all know that.
Oh yes.
But he's totally different profile player to Adam Wharton. They're different. Like Wharton is more like a Michael Carrick.
A quarterback. Yeah, he is. Yeah, very good.
I wouldn't call him a holding midfielder though, because tackling wise, I don't see him currently going left and right. Do you know what I mean? Mark, as you said, that's my territory. Back 3, back 4, and I'm going to go left and right. But Ederson, because he can get to the box and get back, him and Ugarte would work because they would be quite disciplined to each other. But him and Bruno, as you said, would not work because he would never get out from playing that role. And that's when mistakes happen. The one time he goes and the other person isn't disciplined, a counter-attack leaves the back 4 wide open. Whereas our CDM's got to drop in as a 4th defender because the 3 defenders go wide, don't they? We actually only play 1 in the middle. And a lot of people like Martinez, when he gets on the ball, he ends up, he scored, didn't he, from the edge of the box, driving forward with the ball. And that's when he's meant to drop in.
Yeah, here you see the heat maps, Premier League season and Serie A compared. Wharton is more on the right side, Ederson is on the left side. So, ideally, we should just sign both of them. Looking at this, it would be perfect.
Heat maps, when you have the attacking half, that's where they get forward, probably because the left fullback's inverted and covering them behind. And then the defensive heat map directly behind, it's just a straight line, which probably means that he hasn't gone and the right fullback's inverted alongside him. So yes, they go, but the discipline, look at the discipline in that. In both of them, they're both very disciplined. So, and I don't mind that. That's what we need. That's what we were talking about like half an hour ago, is discipline in the team. That's my position. I know I need to be here when we attack. I need to be here when we defend. It's quite rigid, this formation. When you watch Sporting and anyone who plays 3-5-2 or a variation of the midfield being whatever number you want. It's got to be disciplined because 3 at the back, they're wide open. You know, that's how Tottenham exploit us, by putting their wide forwards out on the touchlines and you can't mark them.
Yeah, it's quite that's a very interesting comparison. It does show that Wharton plays the middle third quite well. Ederson plays the middle third quite well, but he's more mobile slightly than Wharton. But none of them play directly in the middle, right down the middle, right down the spine. None of them play directly down the spine. So you're right.
Wouldn't, unless you are an out-and-out 6, and no one plays that single figure.
So you need that 6 to complement the work that Wharton or Ederson would do. At the 2, I prefer Ederson. I think he gives you a much more rotational cycle than Wharton. Wharton's very, very dynamic on the right. Ederson's dynamic on the left, but is more interchangeable when you look at the actual heat map and the coverage, the ground coverage.
Which is you wouldn't be able to play Ederson and Bruno.
Well, this is what we were talking about. This is what we were talking about last night when the heat maps came up, and that's why we decided to quickly shut down the Bruno conversation because that was our assessment last night, 100%. But at the 2, look, I think Wharton's going to turn into a fabulous football. I really do. But right now we would need Ederson more than Wharton, and I think that's.
Can you put Neves up from PSG next to Ederson?
Yeah, no problem. Let's see.
Because that is obviously the holding midfielder from PSG, but also
João Neves.
Sporting, doesn't he? He went from Sporting to PSG. Now,
He
I
did.
think he's one of the best up-and-coming European holding midfielders, and Ederson's one of the best up-and-coming South American holding midfielders. So they played the same formation, so they both play 4-3-3. So that's why it'll be interesting to see the heat map. So I sort of understand how PSG play. So
There you go.
So here you go. João Neves on the right, Ederson on the left.
So that, obviously we know PSG are going to control most of the ball.
Yeah.
But this is
they're going to be in the upper half.
you know, it's not Champions League. Maybe we should just look at the Champions League heat map. Maybe it's more relevant. Oh, so here you go.
So,
Yeah, that's quite interesting.
see now Neves doesn't defend much.
No,
You know, there's less solid red on his side, disciplined wise.
But he's very much a pitch player, though, isn't he? He's a middle third pitch player.
Well,
And
he's a sitting two with Vitinha as well.
Yeah, so if he's a middle third pitch player, again, you've got the Bruno conundrum.
Yeah. And that's why I looked. So he was what we wanted last year as our holding midfielder.
He was. Yeah, he's not a six. No.
Mm.
But I'll tell you something, either of those two players would be a brilliant complement for Agate.
Yes, and that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I was sort of getting at. So I love Bruno. I think Bruno's a phenomenal player, but every great player has a downfall. And normally it's discipline in their position, right? You want to get on the ball, you want to be magic. We could all say that about Eric Cantona. Did anyone know where he actually played? No. Did anyone care? Because he produced the magic.
Yeah. So, I don't think Cantona knew where he played. Bless him.
Yeah, exactly. But if you look at those, you can go, actually, the holding midfielders would complement each other. Our 10s complement each other. And someone put up a while back, play Bruno as a false 9. No, because he won't stay as a false 9. He won't
stay as a false 9. So yeah, you couldn't do that.
So again,
but interesting theory. Sticking Bruno as a false 9, but we've dabbled with that before, haven't we? The last couple of years.
You would have to control the ball in their half, so he's a false 9 on the 18-yard box. Yeah, if he's a false 9 on the halfway line, no chance.
Yeah,
no chance.
I totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree.
He'll be pressing the goalkeeper while we're still on the 18-yard box, coming out. That sort of thing. So it's a really big conundrum because everyone keeps asking for these players. I want a solid goalkeeper. I want this player as a holding CDM. But if you bought 2 10s, which we have in theory, bought 2 10s.
Yeah, we have
120, 130 million in total. It will be. Bruno has to now play as an 8, as you said, because he stayed. You need the best holding midfielder in the world. Yeah. And so the most important signing right now, after we sign in Bruno, is who is the best holding midfielder we can buy.
Yeah,
to allow us to play Bruno.
Unfortunately, he's at City, which is a bit of a twat, or at Fulham.
Yeah, Sander Berge.
Sander Berge.
Who
Berge.
Yeah, Sander Berge or Ugarte. Oh, we won't go for Ugarte because he played for PSG and not Brentford.
Oh, this is it. It.
Oh, now we learned our lesson.
So Palhinha actually didn't play last night, did he?
No.
I think again, Harry Kane scores. What's he scored in the Mickey Mouse Cup? About 6 goals, something like that. Ridiculous.
No. They 10-0. He didn't even score when they scored the 10.
Oh, he didn't score in the 10.
Oh,
I thought. Oh, right. I thought he got a couple in that. So I know he scored
got 2.
He scored the last couple of games, then, hasn't he? So maybe he's only got about 3, but he's still scoring, isn't he, Harry Kane? Still scoring.
Villa Sonana
would have slotted away his 1-0 last night. Jesus, the amount of time and space he got when that ball came through the middle, he turned.
Oh no, good finish though, wasn't it? Good finish. Well, we're not going to get him, are we? He just signed from Everton, didn't he? He just signed him from Everton for
Yeah, but he's not playing on a regular basis for Aston Villa, and we know they struggle with financials. So we could probably strike a deal if he went for him, I would say.
Kane got 3 goals and 1 assist in 4. There you go, 3 and 4. Again, you can only score against who you can, but he'd be brilliant for us, Kane, wouldn't he? I mean, he would just be top. But he's not an out 9 anymore, is he?
No, he's the Wayne Rooney, sitting on the edge of the
yeah, so it'd be no good for us now. Last year, we were absolutely brilliant for us last season. But not
seeing Barcelona there. It's the same with them, isn't it? They've got Lewandowski, but Lewandowski's not Lewandowski of Bayern Munich, is he?
No.
Fortunately, we get older.
But then Rafinha went there and just completely changed everybody's opinion about him as a footballer. I mean, he's been absolutely supreme for them, hasn't he, Rafinha? Everybody talks about Yamin Lamar, but Rafinha has been supreme for them.
Yeah, but that's what a real footballer is all about. Someone's come in, put the pressure on him to perform.
Yeah.
And he went, no, I want to play. Don't want to leave. I will show you. And he went and done it. Now, wouldn't that be nice to have that at a club?
Apparently, that's what Polinia would like to do at Bayern Munich. Apparently,
I don't think he can run in the Premier League anymore like he did 2 years ago.
If we got him 2 years, 3 years ago, I'd have been absolutely raving right now. I mean, he went for 52 million quid. Remember,
but you'll be replacing him right now. We'd still be in the same thing.
We would, we'd have a brilliant 3 years, and he might have actually adapted better staying in the Premier League. He might have adapted better. He's had a couple of injuries, though, hasn't he, to be fair to?
Yeah. It takes one to change your career, doesn't it? So
no, true. Especially when you're 28, 29, 30, 31. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
guys, I have one last topic before we can do a quick Q&A. So I just want to wrap it up. We are 1 hour 41 minutes into the show. I see Rich is in the house. Big up, Rich. Hope you're well.
Big up.
I'm a lot of good comments now. With you are just talking amongst yourself, but. A lot of good comments, but this came out today. Chelsea are in touch with Manchester United over a potential deal to sign Alejandro Garnacho. The source is Laurie Whitwell, with this Monday wrap-up. I don't know how credible this is, but why would Chelsea sign another forward player because they have signed so many? I don't believe this at all, but could it be an option?
Yes.
Get him gone. Yeah. Chelsea, do you want him? He's yours.
Is this not Sancho 2.0?
Yeah. See ya.
They send back Sancho, they take Garnacho. I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Sorry, he's 50 million quid. Do you want him? Yes or no? You do? There you go. I think Garnacho wants to go to Chelsea. 100%. I think that's his favourite.
He will want only Premier League. He will want to come back and hurt
favourite destination. I actually think he'll end up at Villa, Garnacho, but I think...
Do you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
If I was on the board at Villa, I'd be saying you do not touch him at any point because he wore that shirt.
I don't think any club should touch him, really. But we don't want him. I would, whoever put the money on the table, I would get gone. Seriously, I'd just go. Just.
Would you cancel his contract?
Yeah, I would. I've said
he's only on 50,000. It's only 50,000, but it's a low value contract.
I've said this before, Mark. I said we've got Sancho in the last year. I'd cancel that. Cancel his contract. Garnacho, if you want to buy yourself out your contract, buy yourself out your contract. If you want to leave, do that. We've seen it done before. If not, cancel it. Rashford's the problem, but I'd cancel his as well somehow. I'd try and do a deal somehow.
You can't cancel his. There's other reasons why we won't be able to cancel his when that'd be.
Okay. I don't
forget about the hidden clauses in contract. Imaging rights. Yes. He's the face of Manchester United.
Well, supposedly, but those two for sure. I would get gone. No problem at all. I try and do the best deal I can with Betis, and if Betis can't come to the table, send him to Leverkusen. But there are players that have got to go, and I would cancel Malacia's contract because he won't be on a lot of money. We didn't pay a lot of money for him. He won't be in a lot of money.
Sorry for him. We paid 15 million for him. He's had a double ACL operation.
Yeah, he has. Yeah.
And you're just like, do you know what? He was living the dream, and he never really put a foot wrong. He may not have lit the world up, but he didn't let us down either. There's players who have let this club down, and then to have an ACL didn't take the advice, which shows how weak as we are in the medical area.
Correct.
And then we allowed him to have it done and incorrectly done, or
but
poorly
you've
done.
got to cancel these contracts because ultimately you're going to pay the money anyway.
So I saw a guy breaking down how the finances work, how we put the wages into our yearly budget for FFP and things like that. So if you're on £10 million
Swedish Rumble.
Yeah, it might have been.
Yeah. He breaks down everything. So go check him out on X. Brilliant guy.
So if we've already included it in our FFP and our breakdowns, we're not losing any money. We're physically throwing the money away because we're cancelling the contract. Or we can make them halfway, whatever.
But you're paying him anyway.
Yeah. But they are right that you then have to bring in another player. But are we? Do we? We can loan with options to buy, potentially. You know, let's be realistic. That never happens. It very rarely happens. And the Sancho deal may have just changed that for future reference now. People going, actually, you know, whoever put that clause in, I've never heard of it in my life. Obligation to buy with a break clause. It's
I know, it's amazing, isn't it?
It was never an obligation to buy, then, was it? It's got a break clause.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think it would send a statement of intent to the Premier League.
Yeah.
Man United are not messing around. And then all of a sudden you become, in January and next summer, a stronger team to negotiate with.
Yeah, I totally agree. I've said it before, you should cancel these contracts because ultimately, whether you like it or not, you are paying these players whatever. You're just doing it.
300,000 a week in Sancho to do nothing. And now frustrating us because he's refusing to go. That's got to be frustration of contract.
Yeah, because he won't take lower money. So you work it out with the accountants, you work it out with the Premier League, you go all above board, we want to get rid, what can we do? And you do it, and you make an absolute fucking statement with him. You know, that kid, Chelsea paid money to send you home. We don't want you. We've actually got to pay $5 million for the privilege of not wanting you.
Yeah. But we paid more than what they paid to send him back in his wages while he was on loan.
I know. It's absolutely nuts. So if we're going to still pay his salary,
none of it makes sense.
Get him gone. Just get him gone. Take the first deal you can for Garnacho. Don't negotiate. Somebody comes in offers you.
Well, you know, we set the price. The price we set is £70 million.
Yeah, but if somebody comes in at 40 mil, just get rid of him.
But we need the money for PSR.
Got to cut your losses. No, apparently we don't.
PSR,
apparently we don't.
So as we stand, Jarvis, if we don't sell any of those players, we failed PSR. What are they going to do? Give us a 10-point deduction?
No, we're 50 million on the right side of PSR. According to Barada.
But then we have to operate deals like, for example, Højlund. We can't get 40 million for Højlund. Maybe we can offload him for 30. So we have to take a 10 million loss when it comes to PSR. So it gives us more leeway when it comes to going forward. So
you've got to do it. You've got to do this. There are some times where you've got to cut your losses and just go.
I am in agreement here. I understand both sides of it. Like Jarvis, you make a really good point because PSR,
he's right on PSR. He's right
literally holding one testicle in your hand constantly and squeezing. So if we don't have the money for PSR, but the punishments for PSR are not strong enough not to
Nobody
break
knows
them.
What they are, do they really?
Well, we do. You know? We do know because Everton had a 10-point deduction for breach of PSR for 2 years in the drop, right?
Yeah, Forest.
They appealed it, and it was only 5-point deduction. So now we have precedent in a court case. We can only be fined 5 points. So if I break my PSR and I hit Champions League top 4, you know, I'm dreaming right now, but we hit top 4. I'm probably still getting European Football Conference League.
Yeah, we are.
And from that point deduction, 5 points. It was more than that difference between the leagues anyway, so we might not even happen. I'm talking sort of hypothetically, but sorry, we got Man City doing it. We've seen Everton have this problem. We've got
Leicester.
You're saying we're looking at ways of financially circumventing getting players in. players know you don't have. Other teams know you don't have the money because we have to present our books. We have to go to these meetings and appeal things. The other 19 teams hold that one team's other testicle in their hands because they already know what their books are.
I agree, but again, there comes a time when you can't allow poison.
Yeah, exactly. So by doing this, we breach PSR, but we become a stronger unit.
Yeah, there is a bigger picture to it. A lot of people won't like it, rightly so, but there is a bigger picture to it because poison ferments and it just rots away then.
And then you go out, you buy your number one target.
Garnacho, Sancho, Rashford, they are poisoning the club. You know, the senior players aren't tough enough on these kids. I mean, a senior player, if this happened 10 years ago, a senior player would wipe the floor with them completely.
Oh, did you hear Ivan Toney about Garnacho? Where he said he would have come in and pretty much broken his legs in the first training session for wearing that shirt.
Would have wiped the floor with him. Absolutely wiped the floor with him. This is old school footballers. Troy Deeney. All these players would have wiped the floor with him. We're allowing these idiots and these morons to do it. You've got to draw a line.
I want the overlap to come back. I want the overlap on because I want to hear what Roy Keane, Gary Neville say about Garnacho doing that.
Yeah.
Will they bottle it because of their connections to TV and clubs, or would they actually call it out for what it is?
Yeah, I don't think Keane would.
I don't think Keane would either, and I don't think Ian Wright would. And that's a different club. But times have changed. I have to deal with this daily with 18-year-olds going upwards.
Yeah,
It's a nightmare and it's a minefield. It's an absolute minefield because do you know what they can just throw at you? You're now affecting my mental health. And it's true. This does affect people's mental health. And do we need to look after Garnacho because he's showing signs of mental capacity, right, with what he's doing, being led down the wrong path? He could be the next Paul Pogba.
Yeah. He could. I mean, look, you know, if you're more interested on how you look as opposed to what you should be doing, I was watching a couple of videos the other day of Manu and Lenny Yoro on the holidays together.
Workout.
Yeah, that's what you want to see. That's what you want to say. I've not seen anything from Rashford. Garnacho.
He's on holiday with his family and friends, but he's still working.
Sancho's doing whatever. You know, we're not interested in these. I don't want those players in and around the club. So if we fuck PSR over, I don't care personally.
Anthony's been doing workout videos on.
Yeah,
Anthony's been doing it, but I didn't like the fact he was wearing Bilbao's shorts.
Betis. Yeah,
their training kit.
Yeah, he wants to go back to Betis, doesn't he? To be fair, you know.
So, and we want him to go to Betis.
What's going on in the chat, by the way?
No. Let's do a Q&A. You know, let the moderators take care of it. Stephanie apparently is in the chat. I don't know what happened. She lost her moderator status, so I gave her the moderator status. So I hope it's Stephanie that I'm not getting conned by this. But you know, I can just remove it again if it's not the right person. So let's do a Q&A. Get your questions in, and let's play the jingle. Yes.
Well. That's oh dear, we've done it again. Oh God, what's happening here? Oh, it's just not happening. Let's try it again. There you go. Dear me.
I don't want to be on this side.
We start a load of questions. We've actually gone through all of those questions virtually, so I'll just pick out the ones we're not spoken about, and then please get your questions in. We're gonna do 10 minutes. 15 max on questions. So we're going to be done by 20 past 11. Okay, and that is a cut-off point for us tonight. Let's see what we've got, because I say we've already done through quite a few of these. Just to let you know, we'd already spoken about Samu of Porto. We've spoken, Steph, about Ivan Toney. We've spoken about Nkunku and Watkins. Nicholas Jackson. We've done the Daily Jackson, Genghis.
Yes, we've done the Daily Jackson. Yes.
Daily Jackson. Let's have a look. Yeah, we talked about that one as well. So, okay, Trev's coming with a question. So, question: if we get Mbeumo and Gyökeres after signing Cunha, where does Ahmad fit in it all, or where does Ahmad fit in all of this? That is a really good question, actually, to be honest, because I don't know. Would be my honest answer on that one. Jarvis, I'll let you start with that, pal.
Yeah, if you get Mbeumo and Gyökeres after signing Cunha, where does Ahmad fit into all of this rotation? I would think Ahmad is still young. I think he still needs to be more consistent when he plays. He has one good game, another game is not performing. So I think if we put pressure on Ahmad to perform every week and every game and every minute of the game. So if not, I think it's a win-win. And we could also play him as a right wing back. I think a lot of people thinks he will cement his role at the right wing back. I don't think so. I think he will compete for the number 10 role. And why shouldn't he? He's still young. He scored a couple of goals. He's a really good footballer, but also he struggles because a lot of teams recognize his talent and double up on him, and he can't figure out how to solve that puzzle, and he gets invisible into games. So I think he had a lot of steps to go to become the player we want him to be, and we have seen glimpses, but he's not there yet. So it's only sensible that we get Mbeumo and Cunha. So now he get to compete for the role, and that's how a competitive environment works. You have good players competing for one spot at a team. So yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah, just before I bring you in on that one, Mark, I've been a long supporter of this theory, by the way. Make your own luck in football. You are the one that can force your way and shoehorn your way into the team. Nobody else can do it for you. You're the only one that can do it. And if you look across that team and you look across at the players that are coming in, and you find yourself needing to adapt to an unfamiliar position, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and adapt. Go ahead, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, when you get home, in your mansion, in your back garden, and practice another position. And that's how you become a potent footballer. And not enough of these players do it. And we've seen glimpses of this in the past. Antonio Valencia, right winger, finished off at right back. He's a great example of, I'm not getting in at right wing now, but I'll get in at right back. Ashley Young. These people, these players have got that real desire, and that's what I would do if I was Ahmad. I'd be looking at alternatives as well as perfecting my craft. Mark?
I agree with, I think he plays right wing back. Reason being, Amorim likes to play one attacking wing back and one defensive wing back on either side. So he would give us an attacking option on the right, and we got obviously Diego Dalot for defensive option, maybe, although he's better going forward than defending, and vice versa on the left, Dorgu, and then obviously maybe Diego Leone or Luke Shaw.
And Masraoui.
Masraoui, I see playing right-sided centre-back. I love him there. I think he's got the pace. He can be good on the ball as an out ball. But you're right. You make this thing about making your own luck. Ahmad came in last season. How long was he out for? Half the season?
Oh, yeah, at least.
About
the
injury.
He scored 2 less goals than Bruno.
Yeah.
In half a season. So he took his opportunity, and he is a right winger. And Stu, you might agree with me. I don't know about you, Jarvis, but there is no difference playing right wing back or right wing, because if you in this day and age, a right winger has to defend just as much as a right wing back. So they both get back up and down that touchline. The job's no different. And I think he can do it. There is, like you say, technical stuff he needs to work on. But we've just changed. He's just got used to being 4-4-3 and playing in the Championship. So he's got a lot to go. And we just signed him on a new contract. So he will be playing. Because there's nothing worse than the way to destroy a player is give him a new contract and then drop him from the team.
I think he'll be good for 25, 28 games, potentially, depending on how we go with the Cups.
And we still get a lot of injuries.
He'll get injuries. We'll get injuries. He'll come in on injuries, but I think he'll be a bench player. But I think you're right. It's a really good question. I like that question. Evening, Vic. Great to see you, my darling. Jarvis, one for you as well.
Yeah, sure.
Which I like. This is, do you agree, Jarvis, that there are no one plays a box-to-box midfield position in the Premier League? So I think this comes back to a while ago. We were talking about box-to-box eights, and we said there's not too many ones out
box midfield. That's
sorry. He's talking about the box midfield. Yes, sorry.
Where you don't play wingers. So it's basically 4-2-2-2.
Yes, I clearly can't read. Yeah, completely. Yeah, I forgot. We've looked at so much tonight's show. Yeah, so he's talking about the box. Sorry, I apologise. And it's me that brought that
up. Batham, are you asking me if I believe that no one plays the box midfield in the Premier League? Because I don't. I think a lot of teams play the box midfield, and it's very regular in the 4-2-3-1 formation. Most teams play that formation right now, and when they defend, I think they defend set up with the box midfield. But we don't, because we to play that, we rely on one of the central centre back to move up with the number 6 and one of the number 10s. I think that's what Amorim wants to do, but we don't have the right personnel right now, and I think it comes down to the centre back, De Ligt or Maguire. No one of them can do this role, as I see it tactically. But I think a lot of teams play a box midfield. Okay, claim. I'm gonna move it up again. No, I meant a box midfield. The claim was made. No one plays it. Plays one.
So I call a box midfield for you pay 4 across the back. Your standard back 4. You have 2 holding midfielders, then you have 2 10s, and you either don't have midfield 10s and you have 2 strikers. So you create your box because you need width as well. So you've got to sacrifice in one area. Box midfield is very commonly used for defensive purposes, like you said, Jarvis. But you create the 4 and you push them wide, and then you've got a striker that can chase the player into it. But I think as a setup, it's very commonly used in Italy and Spain, where they build in a box midfield. So, and that's the 2-2-2. And a lot of people have the theory that the 2 strikers pin the 2 centre backs. So you play 9-a-side football. So if your 2 strikers are always on 2 centre backs, man marking them, you like work on your 4. So your 4 start here, and whether they go wide, it's always 4. It's like that anywhere on the pitch, left, right, or centre, creating triangles. But I don't see anyone do it. Man City, maybe you could say do, but they're so free flowing. It's hard to tell what their actual setup is. It's more of a 5 yards and no one's allowed in a certain position. You can't have 2 people in the same box.
They used to do the 3-2-4-1 formation. That's where Manchester City excelled at the days, but they don't play with wingers anymore as they used to. So they changed the formation up. But I think Amorim wants to do this. We talked about it because the wide centre backs, one of the centre back move up into with the number 6, one of the number 8s move up with the number 10s, one of the number 10s move out. So you create, as you said, the 4-2-2-2 formation.
I don't like it.
4-2-4 formation in a way.
Yeah, I've never
liked it. It's really hard to deal with, Stu. As a centre back, it's really hard for you to deal with.
Well, I don't mind it. We look. They don't play box midfield at our level anyway. I've never come across a box midfield. And our division is it's okay. We play a lot of ex-pros and semi-pros, within the area. But we play a back four. So box midfield is not necessarily going to hurt me too much because I like a single six in front of me, as I've always said. Single six offers you way, way, way more control than having 2 6s and 2 10s or 2 8s.
But you wouldn't have a single six; you'd have 2 players to mark.
You don't. Well, that's what I mean. Yeah. So a box midfield offers 2, and I don't like that. I prefer, like I say, I prefer a single six. And I've never come across because we like to use the width. Believe it or not, although half of us can't run. We like to use the width because of the crossing ability and the accuracy. So you don't necessarily need 2 banks or 2 fours, or a 4 or a square, whatever you want to call it, to attack through the middle. Because you can attack us through the middle. I'm just going to block you here anyway. I'm just going to tuck my fullbacks in. I'm going to say, right, you're going to have to sledgehammer me down, and it won't work. So that's why we always play with a single six. It allows you way much more freedom to attack rotationally and a bit more fluidly. Without a 4-2-2-2, I don't like that.
Stu, I just want to clarify when it comes to the Amorim system. What they did in the Sporting days is basically it's as simple as this: De Ligt moves up, Bruno moves up, Cunha moves up, and these 2 guys moves up, and you end up in kind of a 2-2-4-2 formation, or even a 2-2-2-4 formation sometimes when attacking. So I think that's what Amorim's trying to do when we get the right personnel, but I don't see it happening right now. We don't have the John Stones type of player who can fill in the central area as a DM.
Yeah, because any decent striker will ghost into there quite nicely in the Premier League, and you're free. That's why I don't like it. The way that Rodri, the way that City is so good is that Rodri just sweeps left to right, left to right, left to right. Even when he moves up, he operates in that circle. And you very rarely see him wide right, wide left. He does occasionally when he has to, but very rarely.
You very rarely see him run.
Yeah, because he sweeps within that middle third. Yeah. And that's what I want us to do. I've said this before, Jarvis, haven't I? I want us to play with a straight single six, the end, and then allow more potency with whoever it may be, Ederson, Bruno, whoever.
But you see here, we create a box with the Amorim system if we get the right personnel. So I think that's what he's aiming for in a way. Well, who knows?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, like I say, I'm not a huge fan of that. I prefer much more fluid, dynamic.
It's amazing, isn't it, when people say a formation? You can say 4-3-3 or a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2 or a 4-5-1. They're all the same bloody formation. They're just whether you've got the ball or not.
It's true. They are. You only have. I've said this before a million times. You have a finite, circumference of a pitch that you play within. 10 outfield players versus 10 outfield players. There's only so much you can do. That is the end. There's only so much you can do in a game of football. And I promise you now, and you've all done it, your gaffers gets the board out and he tells you to do this, do this, do that. After 5 minutes, it's gone out the fucking window because the opposition is playing differently to how you would expect.
You've been in my team talks.
Yeah, it's true. It's just, this is our gaffer will say to us on a Saturday afternoon, right? We know that they'll play a 6'8" inch strike and he'll push you guys back. He wants you on the penalty spot all the time. So you've got to be aware. You've always got to be 2 yards, 3 yards ahead of him when we are in possession of the ball, and then stop and then wait for transition. And then when transition comes, you're not 5 yards away from him. You're just a couple of yards away from him. So you can get back in, start nudging him out the way, start disrupting him. That's how football is. Football evolves all the time. So we talk about all this all the time, formations, etc., and how we want to play. Nobody can pinpoint really how, like you said, how City play, how Liverpool play, because when you've got 3 against 2, what kind of system is that? What system is a breakaway 3 against 2? It isn't. There is no system. It's just how the game has evolved. So that's all it really is, isn't it?
I totally agree.
Yeah. Right. What we got next? The great question, bath time. A good debate there. Stephanie Griffith has come in with a question: which youngster is most likely to break through next for us? Mark, you should be quite well versed on that.
Well, the obvious one to say would be Kone, because that's the one everyone seems to know about, because we bought him and we're playing him. But I think some of our wide players, I always say it wrong, Menduka. It's not Menduka. Mendake. He's a right winger, dreadlocks, very fast. He's sort of but again, he's a wide front three, because we don't play the same formation in our youth. So that's why it's hard to say who's going to come through. Obviously, are we classing Obi as through?
Well,
how many minutes does he need on the pitch to really class as in the team? I don't know. It's hard because our 18s were better than our 21s. A lot of our 18s were playing up. I would love to see Brian Kerry. Brian Kerry is a superb footballer. But he needs to go on loan to a championship.
But he's a forward, isn't he? He's a forward.
Yeah, and he's so good, Jarvis. So good. He's got everything. He's got that little bit of bite about him as well. But he's short. And we know that short players don't necessarily work well as a striker in the Premier League. He's not rapid, but he reminds me of a poor man's Rooney. Because we can't compare anyone to Wayne Rooney. Let's be honest, we can't. Yeah, it's difficult. But he likes that physical fight, and he's got a little bit of snap in him. So I would say keep eyes on Brian Kerry. He's
okay. Excellent.
I have to say, I think Fredrickson will be the guy who will surprise us all, because what he showed in the last couple of games, I think he's ready for the Premier League. He will have the last 10, 15 minutes. He will have a couple of starts. He will play the cup runs, hopefully. We will go deep, and I think it looks like a solid left wide centre back, and I think that's a role that's open for, because we have Euro there, we have Heaven, but none of them, are. I think Euro can play on the right, Masraoui. So I think he will try to mix it up a little bit, and Fredrickson, I think he will surprise us all. So that's
funny you picked him, Jarvis, because one of the biggest TikTok sort of coaches who does pro players, he's been working with him, and he's been online. So we just said about people going out, doing the extras. He's been working in his position, receiving the ball, turning out, sharpening up that play under pressure. These are all videos I've seen of him doing. And I'm like, you're getting out there, you're doing it. You're not sunbathing, you're working on it, because the opportunity to step into the first team has been presented with you. Now go and chase it.
You have to chase it as a young player. You've got to. Otherwise, what you're doing. Right, guys, we got loads of questions, so we need to keep the answers a bit shorter. We're going to be here all night because there's absolutely tons of them. Next question, Catherine. No nonsense, McDade. Can you play box-to-box midfield? Actually, when I was 20, I was a goal-scoring box-to-box midfielder. Usually about 18 per season, anything between 16 to 18 I'd score per season. 0 assists, because we never had assists back when I was playing back in the 90s. There was nothing like an assist back then. But I used to love box-to-box midfield. I absolutely used to love it. I used to love the tackling, the fight. It's my favourite player at the time, Robbo, obviously. Followed by Instant Keane. And then as I got older, I now reside at centre half, and I absolutely adore centre half as well. It's absolutely brilliant. So I used to be able to, but definitely not anymore. And definitely none of our team can do box to box.
I could see you more like a Vinnie Jones type of.
I was a Vinnie Jones. Yeah, I was a disruptor. Basically, I was a disruptor. So the gaffer would say to me, Stu, I don't want you to touch the ball for 5, maybe 8 minutes. Don't get involved in the play. I want you to monitor their team, who they play the ball to, how many times it goes through to him, and then I want you to hit the fucker. This is what he used to say to me, who gets it more than 5 times in the first 8 minutes. And that's what I used to do. I used to be disrupting. And by doing that, and by looking at where the ball was played through and monitoring what they were doing, you could kind of snuff out their game immediately. And it goes back.
Reading the game?
Yeah, basically. And then it goes about what we were saying a few minutes ago about that's where systems go completely out of the window because they've got to completely rethink what they're doing. Because I'll just step into that zone every time he walked into it. Bang, bang, bang. That's how you did it. Right, where are we? Great question, Kat. Thank you for that. John Buckley comes in and says, do you think De Ligt suits the formation? He's too rash for a middle of a back three and not good enough on the ball for a wide centre back. Don't know about that, Joe. I quite like him in the middle, to be honest. So, I don't know. Jarvis?
Yeah, I think he touches on some vital points. That's the weaknesses of De Ligt, but he also brings a lot of fight. He's good in the air. I think he's no compromise when it comes to De Ligt. I think he has experience. So, but he's not 100% fit for this Amorim system. I think Amorim would prefer a more ball-playing centre back, but. We can't sell him at the current moment, and I think he's the best central centre back we have. I think he's better than Maguire when it comes to all of this. And I don't know who could be play there. Lenny Yoro maybe, but then we stuck with Lenny Yoro centrally, Heaven on the left, Masraoui on the right maybe. But where's the area coming from?
You had a decent six. If you had Rodri in front of him, as an example, Sander Berg in front of him, it'd be perfect to Liquid. There'd be no issues there at all. You have to bear in mind, Joe, that we are being turned over quickly and we're being attacked quickly. And they attack through the middle a lot, or they attack out the wings. But when they attack out the wings, he's brilliant in the air. It's good, strong. I like it.
That's what I was going to say on that. I agree with him on what he's put. I think, but he also has a lot of pros because he is a leader. So he does bring that and an organizer. But yeah, the main reason he's rash is because we've been turned over and he's got to make a quick decision. And unfortunately, new to a team, he's making the wrong decision. He's diving in when he maybe should jockey because he's still getting used to the Premier League. In a bad team.
You've got a trust element with the keeper as well, don't forget.
Yeah, he's not going to play at home, is he? And then get a bobbly pass back to him from the keeper.
But guys, do you think De Ligt is suited for a back three?
No. I think Maguire's more. I disagree with Jarvis. I think Maguire's more suited to our back three than De Ligt. I think Maguire offers us more on the ball when he feels comfortable.
When he has the ball, but when they play in front of him, yes, 100%.
Yeah.
But playing out from the back, you have to be able to go into the central area and receive the ball.
I don't mind De Ligt. I don't mind De Ligt of a back three. I think what we do as fans, we put so much emphasis on playing out from the back, and it's nothing.
But it's a vital part of the modern game. It's about controlling the game. If you can't play out from the back, you can't control the game. Then you have to do a coin flip. Can you win the duel 50-50 in the middle? And
can you recover it? Try and win that duel.
It was done in the 60s and the 70s. Playing out from the back's nothing new.
Yeah.
Totally. Nothing new at all. It's been done for years. Alex Stepney would get the ball in, he'd roll it out to a fullback.
So you wanted a short answer, right? And I just want to say this. In my 18s, we won't press the goal kicks. We don't press until the second half because players don't know what to do. They're like, we've set up to be pressed. Well, we're not going to press you. And now they don't know where they're going to pass the ball because everyone's been brainwashed to play a certain way of football. This is going to change in the next couple of years. I'm telling you now. There's certain.
It flips all the time. It flips all the time. Football changes all the time. Playing out from the back. If I'm at right back, for example, I get the ball out and I pop it across to my right winger. That's effectively playing out from the back. I don't think we need to do that. Actually, I think you've got to start mixing football up again. Some of the best.
We're not dribbling out from the back, are we? We are passing. That's football.
Yeah, but how many times do we lose the ball when we play it from the back in terms of possession?
Yeah, too many.
Out of five attempts, we'll lose it 3 times because it'll get played into the wrong area of the pitch. We can't keep doing that. I think De Ligt's all right. I don't think we got better at the minute, so I think he's all right. I would.
But then that goes back to what you were saying about having the right players in the right places, and at the moment we don't. To play that way, our midfield cannot play on the half turn, and if you can't play on the half turn, you're not playing out from the back.
Yeah, I mean, Bafton's right about obviously about the back pass rule, but again, we've had the back pass rule in for I don't know, 15 years, 20 years, I don't know. And it's never. It was a factor right at the very beginning. It's not. It really isn't a factor anymore, is it? The back pass rule. You just get
So
it.
I pass it back to his feet and he whacks it long, or he whacks it long out of his, picks it up in his hands and he whacks it long. If you're pressing the goalkeeper, he's still going to kick it long. It didn't change the game as much as people think it was. It stopped the time wasting, and that's why I don't know how you guys feel about the 8 seconds. I'm looking forward to that.
I think 8 seconds would be quite cool, actually. Yeah, I'm quite looking forward to that. That'll be the best option. Anyway, where are we? Quick question, quick answer. Roberts, Elon Musk once joked about buying Manchester United in August 2022. Do you think he'd be a good owner? No, I think he'd be fucking off his tree. So not for me. Jarvis?
Sorry. Elon Musk once joked about buying Man United in August 2020.
I think he's off his tree. He's the most
you guys think? No, I wouldn't count on it. But
not for me.
I don't follow politics and stuff like that.
I think he's off his head. I do. I take it you would like that, Mr. Langridge.
He's not a glazer, so I'll take him.
Oh no, that's true. Yeah, no, that is true.
He is more likely to sell it on again.
Yes. Well, it's certainly. But let me tell you something about very, very quickly. Musk. He would have streamlined Manchester United like that. Now, would Musk have got the same issues with reducing the workload by 450? Like he was it 3/4 of the workforce to Twitter went. Interesting. Good question, Robert. Thanks for that. Vicky, if you're still watching, my darling. Question. That's a good one, this one. Out of all your time as a Manchester United fan, can you remember your funniest moment at a game? I can remember a scary moment at a game.
You mean watching or something that happened in a game?
I would imagine either something that happened to you or I can remember a scary moment. And that was crikey, 87, 88, I think it was. I'd scalped a ticket at Anfield and I was in the cop and we'd scored after about 13 seconds. Robbo rifled one in with his left peg. I remember jumping up and then halfway as I'm in the air coming down, remembered I'm about to get my head ripped off because I'm the only United fan in the in the cop, and I went down. I went, oh fucking like that, and I just about got away with it, just about by the skin of my teeth. I would have been absolutely lynched. That was quite frightening, gentlemen, I might add. And the cop at the time, when they went 3-1 up, I think McAllister scored. I almost the force. Of the fans almost crushed you against you remember the steel bars used to lean on, and then to finish it off, the best moment ever, Gordon Strachan scores 3-3 at the cop end and he walks up to the cop and he goes like that, and I remember getting lifted up, and if there was no net in there, Strachan was like a teddy bear. Absolute pieces. I love that game. It was brilliant. I've had some great times following United, but that's one of my finest memories. What about yourself, Jarvis?
Nah, I can't remember anything right now. Maybe the Slippy G. Maybe that was the funniest moment.
Oh, Slippy G. Why not? Yes, absolutely Slippy G. I thought you might have gone for the Roy Carroll Tottenham goal that never was.
Never crossed the line. What are you on about?
Never crossed the line. Yes, that's right. I mean, half of Roy Carroll was actually in the goal. It's unbelievable. I think you might have gone for that one. Mark?
I remember it vividly, unfortunately. The Paul Scholes tackle, literally his tackle.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Where he slides in, and next thing you know, he's fully exposed himself outside of his short shorts.
Yes.
I think that's why short shorts got changed back to long shorts.
Yes. Yeah. Well, probably was. Yeah.
Yeah. For ages. That. My own personal one is just the normal celebrating a goal. You're jumping up, and then you go sit back down, and you forget your flip up seats. That's
Yes.
Just gone that normal.
Yes.
And my worst one was an England game where Chubbawamba. Remember Chubbawamba? I get knocked down, but I get up again. Yeah.
Hey guys,
hot dog mayonnaise over my England shirt at the England Colombia game in France '98. Stained the shirt, never came back.
Vic has given us £5, guys. Vic has given us a part. That is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, my darling. Jarvis is going to give you. Look at that. Vicky, that is beautiful. So, I was watching during a Manchester United match. Stuart needs to see what was funny watching them play.
So mine is my seat. Yeah. It's the funniest thing. And Skulls was also a home match. So, yeah, both mine cover that.
Yes, I would have to, Vic, my darling, I'd have to think about that because I've seen quite a few matches. And believe me, back in the late 70s and early 80s, it was all comedy, completely comedy. No grass on the pitches, footballs as heavy as stone. I'd have to think about that one, sweetheart. That's a great question, though, actually. But I would have to
say United's defending over the last 2 years could be some of the funniest moments I've seen in
in a
United match.
Yeah, that would be another one.
Trying to score.
Oh, I can think of one, and we all remember it. Harry Maguire turning like a truck. Do you remember when he was running down the left? What was the right? And he sticks his leg out behind him because he couldn't turn around and make the tackle. And it was like something off of a school ground, and you're just like,
"Yes,
how much do you get paid? I can do that." So yeah, funny
Harry
for the wrong reason.
Harry Maguire, the legend, absolute legend. I do need to think about that one, my darling. But anyway, that's one of my fondest memories. Standing in the Kop, and I may have stood in other away ends in the past, which maybe I shouldn't talk about. Great question. I do love that question. Rebecca, we did touch on this one a bit earlier, Chuck. We don't know in answer to your question. Jarvis says Gyökeres.
I say Gyökeres.
Gut feeling, yes.
Yeah, Mark says
Gyökeres, but after 2 games of the Premier League.
Yeah.
Comes in late.
Yeah. I said Weghorst because I think we'll get Weghorst back. We need somebody with passion. We've just done a Matthias Delicts, but a question. Matthias Delict extremely recently, like a few days ago, broke up with his wife of only 1 year. Do you think this could help his on-pill? No.
A few weeks ago, didn't it?
Yeah, it'd probably be okay. You get that weight off his shoulders of the nagging.
Put your hands back.
The screaming. Have you done this? Have you done? I think he'll be free. That is not true. We love and respect all ladies of this world.
We do.
You are the backbone of every male. And without you guys, we would be completely lost. So I was just having a little bit of fun there. We love you all. Big up to all the girls in the world.
Yeah. I'm definitely nothing without my other half, so.
All men are the same. We're all the same. Some like to admit it, some don't. But we're all the same.
Well, I like to admit it. Stu's not saying anything.
What you're talking about? Boxing Straight Talk says, right, question for the panel. Do you see the centre-backs moving into midfield working in the coming season? Kind of touched on that, haven't we? You two think so. I say no. Because I like the straight. And I don't think we've got the right centre-back to do it. I really don't. I think Lenny Yoro is
got a defensive midfielder to drop because someone has
Martinez, to or Martinez, Leacher when he's fit. But he's not a centre half, so he would be my only choice to do that.
Stu, can I answer that quick when it comes to centre backs into attack? Because our wide centre backs will be important in this Amorim system. They are the playmakers of this Amorim system, and I actually saw in the last, I would say, 7-8 games, one player that didn't get much credit. That was actually Lindelof, and he understood the role of the wide centre back, how he pushed up and supported the number 10 a lot of the times when we went into attack. So I think there's a possibility that some of these players, especially when Mazraoui plays, when Leny Yoro plays, they will have the instructions and the guts and the understanding how to push up. And when I talk about this, it's in the right area. Let me just bring up this for you to explain, because the area is in front of them to push up here, and be able to attack this area here. And I want them to be behind the number 10s always, ready to jump, ready to intercept, ready to push, and being the support the number 10s need if they need to play the ball backwards. So I think we will see a lot of this, the number 10s, the white centre backs attributing into attack. And especially when we got Martinez back, I think we will see him bombing on and actually doing the job. You mentioned a lot of times you wanted to see Lisandro playing as the left wide wing back, but I think he will thrive in the left wide centre back and maybe score a couple of goals, maybe a little bit more goals than we expect next season when he comes back.
I think he'd be brilliant for us at left wing back, which is a great segue there, Jarvis, because it leads us to Stephanie's question.
Okay.
She would like to see a fit Leach play a 6. Now, interestingly enough, he has played there, by the way, for Ajax on occasions. He did. There's no two ways about it.
3 games.
Yeah, he just isn't fit enough right now, Steph, to play as a 6. Could he play a 6? Has he got the intelligence to play as a 6? Absolutely. No two ways about it. He could easily play a 6. But I think suited to us, he'd be a better left wing back, because I think Leny Yoro as left centre half, Leacher as left wing back, De Ligt. I'm kind of going with Mazzari as a right centre back, and whoever, because I think that's the question, whoever on the right wing back. I really think Leacher as a left wing back would be absolutely brilliant.
So on that, I'm going to go with what Jarvis said. Jarvis is spot on with how those centre backs come forward. He wouldn't need to play as a left wing back, because actually they get forward and cross the ball. Mazraoui kept trying to do it, and if I'm honest, Dalot made him look bad, because Dalot, not Dalot. Yeah. Well, it was sometimes Dalot, but sometimes Ahmad. Ahmad holds too wide. He's when he's playing in the 10, he's not meant to go out wide, which shut Mazraoui and the wing back off. So we're trying, but if one player is out of position, it all goes wrong. And because that kept happening, they would then use in the right centre back or the left centre backs to play the diagonal to the other side, to the wing back pushed on, running in behind. And I love that. That's how I play with my team, because we play 3 at the back.
I think that could work. I think you're going to run into issues with Cunha, particularly on the left-hand side, because he loves to play the position that Leach will attack into. I'm not so much sure on the ability.
Playing into the box as a front 3. That's what I think is going to happen.
But he likes to come deep. Cunha, you'll notice with Cunha, he does like to come deep. I noticed it when I've seen him play for Wolves twice. And my worry is that Leacher and Cunha or whoever will walk, run into the same kind of areas. And Mbeumo, different kettle of fish. A completely different kettle of fish. Whoever, Mazzari, for example, will have the space to do that. I think Cunha might be the cork in the bottle on that one. I could be wrong, but looking at how
I said earlier, then add Bruno into that area of the field as well. Yeah,
I think he could be the cork in the bottle. But we don't know, do we? Time will tell. Yeah, exactly right. Great question, though. Absolutely great question.
Yeah.
Well, Steph, there's only ever one winner, Chuck. Only ever. And my question to you is, who's Chopper Harris? Who's Chopper Harris? Get him to come up to Tipton Town. We'll teach him a thing or two.
It's so hard, he's forgotten who he is.
Yeah. Let me tell you something very, very briefly. When I was enjoying playing as a 6, you could get away with it. You could get away with kicking somebody up in the air, putting a reducer on them, and they would do it back to you, and it became, a battle of wits. Who's going to survive and who wilts. And normally, you meet your match. Nowadays, it's pathetic. It's just pathetic. So, Chopper wouldn't stand a chance. Slayer stew all day long. Great question. Emmanuel, question for Jarvis. Fredericks has competition from... Oh, yeah, he's talking about Will Fish, isn't he? Who do you think is better? We haven't seen enough of Will Fish, though, have we?
Yeah, but didn't we sell Fish last season? Or did he go on loan? Was it Motherwell or some Scottish club, I believe he
went...
Hibernian or someone like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, loan, I think. I think it was loan, Jarvis.
But I think we sold him.
Did we sell him? I thought we loaned him. But anyway.
Okay. Well, I like Will Fish, but I think Fredrickson is better on the ball.
I like what I've seen with Fredrickson. I like what I've seen with Fredrickson. 100%. I like what we've seen with Fredrickson. The couple of games he played last season, I thought he acquitted himself very, very well.
He did. And fun fact is, Fredrickson was one of Ten Hag's main men of the young guys coming up, but he got injured, so he didn't get a chance under Ten Hag. But I think he's one of the biggest centre-back talents we have in the club right now at the moment, and that's including Lenny Yoro and Aiden Heaven. So it tells you a lot about his stature in the club.
Fredrickson really reminds me of Tuanzebe. It's a very similar trajectory when Tuanzebe just about broke in, had issues with injury. Do you remember? Yeah. And I said to you, Jarvis, then, reinvent yourself as a right back. He'd be a fucking awesome right back. And he kind of played a bit of right back, didn't he, at Ipswich? Throughout the season, right back and centre half. And he's been.
Why everyone's trying to work out where Fish went? We sold Fish to Cardiff.
We sold him, did we? Yeah, I knew we went on loan. I didn't realise we actually sold him. So, final question, guys. Vicky's given us another £2 here, dude.
Yeah, have a super chat. Thank you, Vicky.
Vicky, you're an absolute legend, my darling. Absolute legend.
One last time for the band.
Come on, give it a. There you go. I jumped in. Big question. Luke Shaw, first team player. No,
that is the question.
Not for me, Vic. I think he's got to go, sweetheart. I think he's got to go. And I was on my best behaviour because the YouTube wife is in the chat, and I've always got to be on my best behaviour when the YouTube wife's in the chat.
Jarvis, what do you want to say? Because I don't mind going last on that.
No, I don't want to end on a negative because it's been a great show.
We've got one more question.
So I just want to say I don't think Luke Shaw has the ability to stay injury-free for a full season. So it will be a waste for us trying to learn the system and implement them into the team. I think we should rather focus on Fredrickson, in Heaven, Euro, and all the young guys. Play him if needed. But
I would love to see Fredrickson get a good run of games, Jarvis, next season. I don't think he will. I think Heaven is a step ahead of him just at this point, but I'd love to see him get a good run of games.
I think Fredrickson plays more to the right if he'd given the choice anyway. So
but I want to see though, Mark, and Jarvis knows this. I want to see our centre halves be really flexible. I want to see players move across because again, this comes down to, and you'll do it with your team. You might look at your team and think, you know what, I'm going to give Steve a go at left back today. He's not a left back. I'm just going to give him a go. I want to see if he's a left back.
I'm a massive believer in the Ajax way. Play every position, and then you're never caught out of position.
Well, so your man up above you is an exponent of being able to play in most positions, and not just adequately, but superbly well. He's a bit modest by it, aren't you, old Jarvis, my old mate? He's a bit modest, but he's an exponent of how to play the game, my old mate.
I could play anywhere but centre midfield because it was way too much running for me. But even compared to a winger, it's still too much running in centre midfield.
Yeah.
You've got to be competent. In my opinion, you have to be competent, as all over the pitch. Just be competent. I'm not saying brilliant. competent. That means that if push comes to shove, I could push you in at 6 mark, and you'd be steady. That's all I'm looking for.
No,
and I'm looking at you to get the ball out to Jarvis then, for Jarvis then to push us up the pitch. That's all.
Do you know where it's most important, Stu, is defending. Why are you going to run from the right-hand side of the pitch back to the left-hand side of the pitch? No, you run back in straight lines, and if you find yourself in that position, you know what you're doing. You know, we're not talking about strikers finding themselves at centre-back. Dion Dublin made a career out of that, but I'm talking about running back in straight lines. It's the shortest distance, and now we can defend. Now we know our formation. I might be a right winger, but I know what to do in centre midfield. I know what to do as a holding midfielder. I know the formation. That makes you solid.
Yeah, I agree.
Stu, I just want to add on the Luke Shaw thing, because it's a good question from Wiki, and I understand you're not trying to be negative, Wiki. So the only thing when it comes to Luke Shaw, we know it's a World Cup next summer. And Luke Shaw has a way to find himself into the England national team.
You're saying he's going to play 30 games.
I wouldn't be surprised if Luke Shaw comes back, stays fit, fully fit for the rest of the season, and becomes a regular starter for Man United. It wouldn't surprise me, because now he has the motivation. He wants to play for England.
Jarvis, I can't argue with that, pal.
I can't argue with that. He's so spot on.
That's logic of the highest order.
He's one of the best. He would make one of the best left wing backs in the world.
Yeah, my old mate has pulled it out the bag. He's done it again. I was
going to say he could play for the disability team.
Ooh, out the bag. He's done it again. Sorry, Jarvis out. He's just mic dropped it. That's it. One more question, gentlemen, and then we can wrap up the show. No, I wouldn't know what to say on that one. To be honest,
I think that's Jarvis all over, because for me,
I think she's missed one out though, guys. She's missed one out.
Yep, Stam.
And that for me it should be Woolley, Stam, Van Dijk, Koeman. That's who it should be. Okay, let me just get that clear. So I'm going to go with Jaap Stam all day long, because I think he's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Cut down in his prime. He's like a tree cut down in his prime.
Yeah, I'm the same. I think Stam was one of the best centre-backs I ever saw, and never got to play the career he deserved.
I taught him a lot more.
Ronald Koeman, no.
I taught him a lot.
Did you?
Yeah, I taught him a lot. Jaap. He used to give me a quick call. He said, Stu, what's happening with my position? I said, dude, every time you go up for a header, you close your left eye. Keep both eyes open. You know, make sure you head it there, not on the top of your head, son.
Did you help him with his writing of his book as well? Because that might have led to his downfall.
Yeah, I did. The reason I can't say Ronald Koeman is because of that disgraceful free kick he scored against England for Holland at that time, and the fabled taste. You cost me my job, ref. You cost me my job, Graham Taylor.
What a centre back he was for Barcelona.
He was a brilliant player, Ronald Koeman.
He was at Barcelona. But I don't rate Van Dijk as high as everyone does.
I don't.
Really dirty centre back that gets away with murder.
I don't. Stand for me on that one. Closely followed by me. If I hadn't given him all the tips, I think I'd have put myself first, then Stam, then Koeman.
But Mark, Stu, why? Answer me this.
Yeah.
Everybody mentions Stam in very high what is it called? High regard. But no one mentions Ronny Johnsen.
Yes.
He's probably almost as good, and I would say he's almost better than Jaap Stam because of his versatility and how he always covered up. He didn't go into the main stage, as Jaap Stam did with all these duels. But Ronny Johnsen was always there covering up. So you never saw Jaap Stam doing any errors on the field, because Ronny Johnsen was always there sweeping up because of his pace.
I've got a very simple answer to that, Jarvis, and I genuinely mean this, because as you're right, Ronny Johnsen is a victim of circumstance, period.
Yeah,
I agree.
That's all he is.
I would always say he was as good and almost better than Jaap Stam. But I'm Norwegian, so that's just my unbiased.
No, let's say it how it is. If Ronny Johnsen hadn't played for Manchester United, you're having a different conversation. You really are. You're having a different conversation. Because he played for Man United, it's a pure victim of circumstance for him. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
He's probably
100%.
not one of. We've had
and
a few
that's what it
centre-backs
is.
like that.
Yeah,
We've had a
wrong
few
place at the wrong
centre-backs.
time. Henningberg, we got too late. We all know we got him too late.
You know, everyone goes all-time Prem 11s, right? And we get the same two centre-backs picked every time by most people. Right? Rio and Vidic, right? They played well together. But individually, they had a lot of weaknesses. But the other one would, you know, Vidic covered the physicality while Rio done the ball playing.
Yeah.
But Gary Pallister and Steve Bruce.
Steve Bruce, and Jarvis knows this because I've got him on record, aren't I, saying this. I think Steve Bruce is one of Manchester United's finest ever centre-backs.
Agreed.
I've always said that. And we have had some brilliant centre-halves in our time, past, present and future. We have had some amazing centre-halves. We really have. And Vidic's got all the plaudits because of his attitude and he would, you know, if there's flying boots, he don't care. But so did Steve Bruce. Steve Bruce wasn't that good looking, you know.
He still wore the bandage. He went Steve Butcher, didn't he?
Steve Bruce chiseled that good looks by being punched in the face, elbowed in the face, headbutted, booted in the face. You don't see Virgil van Dijk getting his hair messed up. Oh, what's going on here? We're going in for it, you know, proper edits or. You know,
and that's the real reason you can't compare those three defenders, because they are three defenders from the three different periods, which would match Steve Bruce. We can't compare Steve Bruce, Vidic, and Harry Maguire. I had to throw Harry in there because it's the most recent. You just can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, Vicky loves Vidic. He's the king. Yeah, look, Vidic is. Yeah, he's a brilliant player. But I think the guys are right. And you're right about Ronny Johnsen, Jarvis. You're not actually saying anything incorrect. You're absolutely right. He was just a victim of circumstance.
I would say he's one of the most underrated players at the greatest time of Man United. So just my statement. And a fun fact when it comes to Ronny Johnsen, he played at level 4 in Norway when he was 23.
Yeah.
But the guy who came in as the national coach, his name was Egil Olsen.
I remember Egil Olsen.
He knew him. He knew him. So the first thing Egil Olsen did was to pick him for the national team when he played at level 4 in Norway. And then he played as a striker because one of the Norwegian Premier League clubs bought him. He played as a striker, then became a professional playing in Besiktas, still as a striker. But after a while, he was dropped down to play as a centre back. But he still played as a striker for the national team. And then he had a couple of good seasons for Besiktas, and then Man United bought him at 27. So he had an exceptional career and a late bloomer.
But you know the good thing when you look at clubs, and you look at Manchester United in particular, there's a lot of players that have suffered victim of circumstance. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was one.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned one earlier at the start of the show, Stu. Romero in goal.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, again, another victim of circumstance.
And I'll give you another goalkeeper. We have Peter Schmeichel. Raymond van der Hout was one hell of a goalkeeper.
Yes. He was decent, Van der Hout. And I love Schmeichel anyway. Schmeichel's my all-time. Apart from Gary Bailey, because I had his autograph when I was about 8.
Les Sealy coming in one season doing the job.
Dennis the Menace, what a legend.
There's only one. It's Schmeichel.
I love Schmeichel's my man, but we've had some great, Chris Turner, some extra keepers. But Ronny Johnsen, that's the type of thing that this channel should bring up, and you're absolutely right. And Ronny Johnsen was very, very underrated.
I should send him an email and try to get him on the show. Definitely.
You should. If you know him, you should, because that would be good night, sweetie. Mwah. Love you. You should. Yeah, absolutely. Jarvis, mate, you break my heart.
Yeah, it was to you.
I know it was to me. It was to you too. Yeah. Well, in a couple of shows' time, Mark, you might get lucky. I don't know yet. We haven't decided. In a couple of shows' time, you might get lucky. But no, victim of circumstance actually just proves strength in depth, though. And that's the real key to football, strength in depth. And when you've got a great player like Johnsen, who is a bit part player, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer Teddy Sheringham, yeah, we got him late in life, didn't we? But a bit part player. To not be able to get directly, they are, Trev. You know that. I'll text you later. Give me 10, Trev.
We've always had Jason Parks.
Yeah, Jason Park. Yeah,
Ederson, people like that. They could have done better at other clubs. Okay, some might say we destroyed their careers, but they were what you needed. Yeah, I'm ready, boss, when you need me. Yeah,
exactly. And Fergie was, he said we lost the is it 2000? I can't remember which
Barcelona one where he didn't play.
Barcelona one. Yeah, he said if I played him, we would have won the game. And I love stuff like that. So,
and all the players say the same as well.
Yeah. Henningberg, we got too late, I thought, Jarvis.
Yeah. He was never a regular starter for us, but he always filled in because Ronny Johnsen was always injured. He had hamstring issues, and his muscles couldn't keep up with the Premier League. So that was maybe one of the reasons we don't remember him for the player he was. But if you go back and watch a couple of old games, you will see Ronny Johnsen and even Henningberg doing well. But actually, they played together as the centre backs for the Norwegian national team. But I think they only played together once for Man United over 3 seasons.
Probably did, because they were both injured a lot, weren't they?
Yeah.
Was injured a lot.
Always one of them injured. That's how it went. Yeah.
Right, well, that finishes the Q&A. It's a massive 275 of you watching, by the way. Please get us to 100 likes. There's been loads of new names, Jarvis, HAB being one of them tonight. So they come for Mark, obviously. They're not here for me and you, Jarvis. They've all come to see Mark. Mark, you've been again. Thank you so much for coming on, mate. You've been absolutely brilliant. Everybody, Mark is a member of the Balls Out podcast. Myself and Jarvis appear on there on occasions. We haven't been on for a while, but we do appear on occasions. But please follow Mark, and please follow the lads at Balls Out, because they're starting afresh, really, and they're trying to get a bit of traction. So if you can help them out.
Just put out a video tonight, a pre-record. It was all about the ticket prices, focusing on the lesser spoken word about the ticket prices and actually the truth behind when we're middle of the road. We're not as high as people like to make out what we are in the papers when you put all the figures together. So go check it out.
Please check it out, and please do like and subscribe to their channel. They deserve more views than they get at this point in time. So Mark's a regular on there with Nathan. Particular, those two are the backbone of that particular channel. So give them a hand, because they're great. They're great lads. Yes, sorry, it is a family show, Trev. I know. And where can I find you on Twitter, Mark?
At Language7 on Twitter, or X, or whatever you want to call it these days.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Just anything. I always answer. Is there any messages? I'm not very controversial, so you're not going to get. You can ask me anything. So
nice. Yes, it's been a great show, guys. Thank you for coming on. It's been a fantastic debate. Brilliant Q&A. We were supposed to do 10 minutes. We did 1 hour of Q&A, but
I always say
all of the brilliant questions from the Devilish Tacticals. That's you guys watching, getting involved with in the chat. So thank you all. I have I think Noradin is still live, so I have.
You're gonna raid?
Yeah. Well, let's just raid him. Go in there and say Tactical Devils raid. So we will just end it with that. And I will say thank you to TK, Genghis Khan, Trevor, Stephanie, Rebecca, Bootinator, keeping count of the likes. Thank you, Bootinator. You are a legend. Day 147. All of you guys, sorry if I didn't mention your name, but I'm so grateful that you took your time and watched over almost 3 hours with us three sitting here wobbling about football. But it's been a great show. Thank you all, and now you will be redirected to United Real Therapy. But remember, say Tactical Devils raid. I will be there too. So have a good one and good night.
Thank you, guys.